It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Wednesday evening, guys. Good evening to everybody who's watching. This is Marcia Weeks, and you are watching the Marcia Weeks show coming to you live and direct from Barbados. Where's Barbados? It's right there in the Caribbean. Yes, I know a lot of you know where Jamaica is, but Barbados is not part of Jamaica. Barbados is in the Caribbean. All right. Yes, this is wonderful, wonderful to be on tonight, and I am well. Thank you for the well wishes and the prayers, and everybody who sent out a little note to me and sent up a little prayer. I am doing well. I am doing well. I had the flu. It wasn't anything serious because, they'll take it and put it on some blog that I'm in the hospital, right? It's some flu that I had, but I'm good. Excuse me. As I said that, I'm sneezing. All right. Oh my lordy. Oh my lordy. I'm here embarrassing myself on camera. Good evening, everybody. Yes, good evening, good evening, good evening. Well, we're going to go straight into, let me greet the people. Fabian Yard, good evening. Nigel Carrington, good evening. Junie Rock, good evening. I know a lot of you have also been asking me about what is happening in Kenya and about Pigeon ODIMWENGU. Well, he's here with us tonight, and I need you to share. You're going to hear from someone in Kenya, not from BBC, not from CNN, but someone in Kenya who was in the protest. So I want you to share for me, please. Make sure you share. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you like. Everybody, let's do that now, please. Mystic Angel, good evening. Diana Husbands, good evening. Owen Hines, how are you watching from Philadelphia? Make sure you're sharing, Owen. FX Trading, good evening. CG, good evening. Adrian Atkinson, good evening. Heather Cliff, Heathcliff. I should know that name by now. Good evening. Are you sharing, Heathcliff? Marcia, have you shared yet? This is important. We hear from BBC, we hear from CNN. Here is a protester on the ground there, and we're not being sponsored by nobody. So you're going to hear it straight. You're going to hear what it is. This is coming from the streets of Kenya to you. This evening, okay? Cecilia Milia, how are you? Yes, I know you were checking in about the young man. All the people that were checking in about Pigeon is here with us this evening. Thank God he's alive. There are many who did not, their lives weren't spared. Jefferson, good evening. Mystic Angel, Romeo Hinkson, Queen B, good evening. Fabian Yard, good evening. Clive Osborne, good evening. Lucinda Allen, good evening. Oh, wow. Good evening to everybody who's joined. I can't call everybody's name, but just to say good evening to you and to kindly ask you to like and to share and to subscribe. I've been told that people who have been subscribed said somehow YouTube is unsubscribing me. So I don't know what's going on there. They're trying to work on me on YouTube as well. But people who have subscribed been saying to me, but Marcia, I'm now being told that I'm not subscribed anymore to the channel. Someone from Jamaica, I had to tell her, go back and subscribe. Of course she did. Yes. So go ahead. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, like, and share. Very important message to you tonight that is coming from Pigeon. And after he's done, we don't want to keep him here long like we did the last time. Oh my God. Well, that's what we think. We're not going to keep him here long because I know he needs his rest. And we have Glenn Murray who's coming on, and Caswell Franklin, and everybody else should be on. Okay. All right. So let's go right into our national anthem. Yes, we don't, that's our theme song, and we stand behind it. We stand behind our national anthem. We believe in it, as do the people of Kenya in their national anthem. All right, so let's stand at attention. When this spelling was young, a great Yes, Barbados, we write our names on history's page with expectations great. And that's what has happened with these Kenyan youths in Kenya. They are writing their names, or they've written their names on history's page. Barbados, will we stand up for Barbados? Will we write our name on history's page? Uh, Again, it's great to be back. It's great to be back with you. And I'm going to ask you once again to like and share. Just going to give you one more minute to do that before Pigeon comes in to join us. Yes. Everybody like and share. Just like and share. This is so important and so solemn this evening. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty, so we are ready. We are about ready to go. I hope you've done your sharing. Serlene, good night. Janine Butcher, good night. I hope we've done our sharing. Let me just without any further ado, let me welcome Mr. Pigeon ODIMWENGU. Good night, Pigeon.
Good night, sister. How are you?
I am great, and I am even better seeing you on the screen tonight because I was sending up my prayers for the people of Kenya when I saw the protests yesterday, and I was praying for you and hoping to hear from you, and people were sending me messages asking me if you were okay. So we are happy to see you here on here tonight, Pigeon. Yes, Pigeon. How are you really doing tonight?
First, I think it is it is with very deep and sudden heart that I have to convey my sincere wishes to our comrades who actually died in the line to defend our liberation, to defend our freedom, and to defend our country. And therefore, I'm so indebted and encouraged by their struggle and their spirit. And I am feeling somewhat inspired instead of being too much saddened by the steps they took as a people. And may their soul
Hmm.
rise with our ancestors in
Yes,
eternal peace.
yes. So you though you feel sad, you feel inspired. You're saying.
Yes, and many of us feel inspired because I remember I spent my good time tonight. I think the last 1 hour, just an hour ago,
Hmm.
I've been in the Twitter space in Kenya.
Yeah.
And this also tells you how actually we have taken space over the digital space to organize
Yes.
and agitate. Because I was in a Twitter space that just took place in the last 1 hour, and we were having over 130,000 Kenyan who are tuned to the Twitter space. And the more are inspired to keep moving because,
Mm.
in fact, tomorrow is a big day for us, and we are moving forward not only to march for solidarity to those whom we've lost, but also to totally bring down this government.
Wow. So you guys, you're inspired to keep fighting. What about I was watching a report out of Kenya and where they were saying that the president was excuse me was giving a lower number of deaths, and the human rights group there, they were saying that at that time it was about, I think, about 22 persons who died. What's the final count at this moment?
That can never be known. In any of such neo-colonial states, they can never allow us to get the real final numbers of those who have been actually slain or so far murdered in this process. But permit me to report that on yesterday's event, I actually was not able to make it to town despite of boarding matatu or boarding vehicle to town
Yes.
at around 1 p.m. and our vehicle was stopped. In fact, not stopped. The driver stopped saying that he cannot go to town. The road had been blocked, and therefore I had no option or no ability to get myself to the city. That was around 1 p.m. towards 2 p.m. But one of my friend who was inside the parliament told me that 5 people were shot dead by one sniper in the parliament, and there were more people who have been shot dead around that day of protest. The number might be even more, close to 20 to 30 or even 100 in Nairobi. But across the country, there were protests nationwide. There are also a number of people who were shot dead in various parts of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And on that night, there was unprecedented event that took place in one of the big, almost semi, let me call it almost like a slum, not a slum particularly, but a semi-moderate setup called Githurai 45, where it is believed that the citizens had actually shot down a police officer because that was the route they were using to the cities. There's a team of people who came over 30 to 40 kilometers to the city,
Yes.
and because the roads were blocked, so they had to walk on foot.
Mm-hmm.
And they walked from around 1 p.m. and they arrived in the city close to 5 p.m., which was very late. So on their way back, it's believed that there was an altercation that took place within a place called Githurai 45.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole night, the police officers shot dead citizens. And that place alone, the number could be more than 200 who are believed to be have been shot dead by the
Wow.
police
So
officers.
this is
And
now after the protest, because I also read that,
yes,
that after the
yes,
protest they went in some of the interior parts of
yes,
Kenya, and they
yes.
and it looks,
Sorry for that.
yes, that's okay. We'll take care of that. In the meantime, in
Sorry
the
for
mean,
that.
yes, yes. In the meantime, guys, can you share the live for us? This is so important to hear it from those that are in Kenya. Because now he's able to give us some more details, and I guess that's why people are saying the numbers that it's close to about 300 um, persons who have died. Now, what he's saying is that the after the parliament incident, that the law enforcement, the allegation is that the law enforcement, the police, they went into some of the interior areas and that they gunned down people. And do you have any facts on this?
No, of course, the media has been blocked a bit in terms of that night event.
Yes.
But there were people who have come out to some media to speak on what happened at night. There were
Ah.
some texts that were shared online via WhatsApp, and you see
Uh-huh.
the government also shut down the Twitter for a period of time, and it was government because the main telecommunication company that provide data said that they are sorry for the problem that took place yesterday night for the data outrage. But the international, I think international internet, whatever, said that there was no cable cut. So there have been people who have come out to speak in regards to speak to media that they lost their lovely one. There were children who never saw back their mothers as they were in the market because there's a big market, and
Yes.
there was a aimless shot that actually killed almost everybody who was just around.
Oh my goodness. So this is a serious human rights violation, human rights issue. That is why I saw those persons there were calling on international bodies. So, oh my lord. So tell me, I know the young people are feeling inspired. What about those mothers that have lost their children and people who have lost their family members? What's it like for them?
Uh, the government pretends to be apologizing for whatever took place, but even the families are insisting that still the demand for justice and that their sons and daughters ought not to have died because they were fighting for what is right. You see,
Yes, yes, yes.
so basically the families are still looking forward to fight for justice. The president claims that there was no extrajudicial killing. And what happened, I think, in that area where there was too much shot at night is
Hmm.
because the president decided to deploy the military to attack or to square out the issues the citizens, the civilian.
Oh,
So the militaries were using the route from where that serious altercation took place at night. That's the route they're using to the city. So it happened on their way to the city or on their way back is where the issue started. And yeah, basically, so you see, the president decided to deploy the military without parliamentary approval at night, almost at around 6 p.m. And the military came over to the city to take over. And the state of emergency, no, the Gazette notice to allow the military to come in was released. But you see, the parliament was conveyed today in the morning, despite of serious damages that took place in the parliament still was forced to sit and actually approve through parliamentary processes the deployment of military, which took place before the parliament approved, which was illegal. So the citizens who moved to court, actually the court also termed the deployment illegal
mm-hmm.
and withdrew the deployment. So the president has been forced to withdraw the military engagement, despite of him planning more military officers who are getting to the
Oh,
city today.
wow. Well, we're grateful for that because I mean they would have probably gone into other communities and killed more more, based on the allegation. I mean they could have gone and possibly killed more people. But what do you say to people, Pigeon, who say to you and the rest of young people, how did a protest that was peaceful? I could hear the people saying, we are peaceful, we are peaceful, we are peaceful. How could a protest that is so peaceful turn into something so violent? What happens?
In reality, is that this demonstration has taken another twist because at the start there were genuine Kenyan citizens who were in the streets to agitate for simple and genuine agenda, which is the rejection of a finance bill.
Yes.
But here are two other layers who have got interested in this demonstration. And one, because you see, the president has opened up enmity with so many forces.
Uh-huh.
So his enemy of the oligarchs, whom we call either the estates, the businessmen, the powerful forces. So these people are at a play here who want to take advantage of a situation that has been created by popular masses through the protest. And there are also a group of middle setup. So the oligarchs become the higher setup. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
group of a middle setup which include us, the various movements, various political groupings, various activists who also want to pursue an agenda beyond the finance bill.
Well, yes.
And then now there's the third category of ordinary citizens I've said who are just in the street for the finance bill.
Yes.
And that's why you will realize that in some of the protests, there have been two parallel messages. One has been reject the finance bill,
Mm-hmm.
and another one has been Ruto must go.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
the Ruto must go narrative is a narrative that is being pushed by now the second category and the third and the high category of groupings here. The high
Mm-hmm.
business group and the middle political class who might want to take over advantage of this protest.
Mm.
And it is possible that it's also believed that this now the upper group of the oligarchs might
Mm-hmm.
have sponsored some few of their people who then went extra mile to turn violent so that the government could either have a justification to be violent on us or to turn violent so that the government could be actually toppled in order
Toppled.
for President Ruto to go. And that's
Yes.
why you realize that some people went to the parliament to take over the parliamentary mess, which means is the symbol of parliamentary proceedings. And
Oh.
without the mess in parliament, there cannot be proceedings or sittings in parliament. But the National Assembly, because Kenya operates with two, is called bicameral parliament. So we have the Senate and the National Assembly.
Yes.
So the mess that was taken was the mess for national, no, for the Senate,
Senate.
which is
Yes.
which could not stop the proceedings of the country because the main assembly is the National Assembly. So the
Yes.
National Assembly mess was not taken away. But if you check on that activity, it proves that it is beyond a bill, but rather either stopping or paralyzing the parliamentary proceedings, which then shows that if you take the power of the parliament, then you basically have to dissolve the parliament so that people go for a re-election. Then that takes you to an upper level of thinking, which then calls for either the dissolution of this government. So
Mm-hmm.
this might be the people who sponsored this activity, because I realized when I also talked to one of my friend who said that yes, they were in the parliament, and if you see what many people did in the parliament, some just went there to eat, who ate the meals that the politicians had left there, and they treated themselves well. Some just decided to destroy some properties in the parliament. Some either banned part of the parliament or section of parliament and destroyed the vehicles in the parliament and everything else. But some went for even the coat of arm of the parliament was taken away by an individual, and also that mess who was taken away by an innocent, like an innocent individual or Kenyan individual. So then those are the people who brought in. And if you check the statement that the president gave before this today's statement, the statement he gave yesterday night, is that
Mm-hmm.
there are a group of people who then decided to be violent in a peaceful demonstration. And
Yes.
this is always are happening in most of demonstration whereby a group finds an opportunity to advance their upper target or upper ambition
Mm-hmm.
beyond what actually the ordinary citizen and the state do. And now they've found a justification not to push it. Because you see, because the president has removed the finance bill or say he's withdrawing the finance bill, the demonstration still will go on tomorrow to an higher level that Ruto now must go, finding justification of extrajudicial killing to our young men and women, and then pushing for a total cleanup. If I check the Twitter space that was happening today, the
Yes.
people are calling for a total cleanup of the government, and they have more
Oh.
issues of a failed system beyond finance bill, from appointment, incompetent governance, and then this is now the opportunity to actually utilize a total changeover of the system by cleaning the total system.
Right. So this we're at the Ruto must go stage. So it is not that the Gen Zs were being violent, but there were some other people you're thinking that probably had other motivations within the country.
Yeah, there are people who found an opportunity because you see, every activity presents an opportunity.
Yes.
And when you have many enemies, they find you at your lowest point to tap to you. And
Yes.
this is the lowest point that they can use actively to tap to the presidency and bring it down completely. Of course, we still peg the failure of or even the introduction of this financial bill to the president, and
Correct.
therefore it doesn't serve and deserve actually to be there in power. But I don't think that was the highest conscious thinking of ordinary people or young men who were in the street at that particular moment. But today
Yes.
it is picking a momentum based on the trajectory that now the situation has taken, extra killings, and I am only worried that it might be successful because tomorrow the government might be brought down, which is today. They might bring down the government because a group of many people are heading to State House, and the key issue will be to bring down the government. The only
Wow.
worry I have is that, as in usual revolutions, when the government will be brought down, it will not be to the benefit of the ordinary majority citizens who had gone to the state in the first place. Because the oligarch or the political class will still replace one of their errand boy who might
Hmm.
then necessarily not change anything for the citizens, which might lead again to another demonstration in a near future.
So, thank you so much for breaking it down. I don't know. I mean, your mind is so amazing, and you're such an intelligent person. It's so clear the way you broke down these different layers, and your honesty. I find in how it's presented. Thank you very, very much. It's actually very, very refreshing. Very refreshing. You
But
know, yes,
permit me to point two things.
yes.
One, when the president gave his speech today, he was a bit remorseful, unlike how arrogant he was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, he called the majority of people in the state as people who are criminal and had committed treason.
Yes.
In
Mm-hmm.
fact, the citizens feel if there's anybody who has committed treason is the president for having ordered the killing of many young men and women. And he has actually various bad reputation in terms of criminal activity. But the president could not come out to ask for a dialogue. And in the process that they bring the dialogue, in that the speech today, he is flagged by many church members. So the church is coming back again here. The church that messed up the country by voting this person is coming to
Mm,
stand next to this person to help this person actually sanitize his mistakes.
right,
And the
right.
young people are saying that because you see, in our protest calendar, today or Thursday was meant for us to go to State House to speak with the president. He is asking for a dialogue.
Ah,
Therefore, we will proceed without his invitation because he has said he need a dialogue. We are going to have a dialogue with him in his own State House. How it will take place or how it will end is based on him. If it become violent, then it will end up violently. If it become peaceful, because we are trying to run away from the aspect of trying to group us to have a leader who represent us. We don't have anybody and you don't want anybody to represent us. We will represent all of us. So sit down with
mhm.
us one on one to have a conversation. But that is what is failing. So the deputy president came out again, the deputy president, to give a
Yes.
separate statement after the president gave the statement. And the deputy president is blaming the head of National Intelligence Service and is calling the head of National Intelligence Service to resign. And
Mm.
he is trying to refute that there were people who are, he's trying to bring the aspect that there were people who are behind the sponsorship of the demonstrations, which to his talk, he even appear like including himself in the people who planned the demonstrations suddenly. Then he's asking the citizens to forgive members of parliament who actually voted for the yes vote. And members of parliament have also come out to ask for forgiveness since the president has withdrawn the bill. But we want to deal with them individually. We will deal with them individually. We will go after their businesses. We'll go after them and we'll ensure that we clean all the records, including their corrupt records, their criminal activities, their corruption, and everything else. So it is a process whereby the government is trying to play a mind game. And I think the aspect of the president calling for a ceasefire today was actually tactical to give him space to regroup and reorganize himself,
Mm-hmm.
just buying space for us. And that's what majority of Kenyans don't want to give him that space. They want to tap to him as where he's already down.
Yes. Wow. This is something else. So this continues tomorrow, where you guys. But is it the Gen Zs? What I'm getting from you, it's not the Gen Zs that's going there tomorrow to the parliament. It's not the Gen Zs.
Now, the Gen Zs are still going there tomorrow because you see now they have bought to the second narrative of Ruto must go. It's
Ruta
like it
must
has
go. So it's
transitioned.
them. So they're
So
the
it's
ones that's going there tomorrow. I got you. I understand.
but
Wow.
there's a group, there's a presence of millennium. The
Mm,
millennium group is here and they are giving full support both from outside the Kenya and inside the Kenya.
yes.
And government is abducting many of us. If you check the majority who are being abducted are brought from Gen Zs and the millennials. So the
So
government
hold
is
a minute. So
abducting.
we're talking about killings here, and then I saw where someone is missing. They were leaving a nightclub and they were abducted. Abducted. So they're abducting people as well.
Yes, one of the former presidential aspirant, one of us, in fact, we've just learned of him today. He was even abducted without our consent. We didn't know where he was or whether he was in the protest, but I learned about it through one of the activists, and he has been following the whole of the day to look for that presidential aspirant in the last election. And just an hour ago, I've received an information that he was found actually something like a drug. So he was given some drugs and left in a near forest, and he has just been found like an hour ago. So other people have been abducted.
Oh,
Some are still missing. Some have been found. And even if the president is saying that he need a dialogue and is already abducting us, shows a level of a bitter person who only pretended to be good after external pressure just to ensure that he maintains his country, but in reality, he is not honest.
yeah, yeah.
So as we
You
have
know,
said,
yeah,
as we have said before, we never needed any dialogue because in the first protest, our key issue was that the finance bill must be withdrawn.
yes.
And the fact that he has withdrawn the finance bill and he has done many criminal events, we just want him to resign and go, or we help him go. Because as it appears, that is the only dialogue we can have with him. When does he want to go and how he should go? Because now the finance bill is withdrawn. But you cannot, he said on Sunday that he's ready for a dialogue. Just to wait to kill young people on Tuesday, then call for another dialogue on Wednesday, on the same Tuesday or Wednesday. Is that really realistic?
Yeah. So let me ask you something. There's a question here from Jeannie Motley, but before you answer her question, let me ask you: was there a time where the citizens were invited in Parliament to share their views on the finance bill? Did they have like a parliamentary review committee or anything like that?
There's nothing like that. The politicians or the parliamentarians are saying that they went to their villages to consult the people.
And you're saying that they didn't?
They didn't consult the people. They did not do that.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Someone,
Excuse me.
Jeannie Motley's okay. Yes, she's coming right back to us. In the meantime, viewers, can you please share this live? If you've just joined, good night. If you just joined, welcome. And if you have any questions for Pigeon, please go ahead and ask the questions. Okay. Jeannie Motley is asking: has the president expressed or decried the violence used on the citizens?
As the president expressed the cry, the violence used, if you see, it's even denying the actual number of people who were killed, and is even denying use of extrajudicial killings.
Mm,
It clearly that he is satisfied and is not remorseful, neither is he apologizing for the deaths of those who are killed.
okay, okay, I see what you're saying. That he's not. Oh, wow, you guys don't believe that he's remorseful at all. I yeah, that is so the tomorrow, so we have to hope and pray that tomorrow we don't have another massacre in Kenya at this at this point, because as Sir Alfred is saying, consulting the citizens is just lip service from these politicians. It's I'm happy that the bill is, they are withdrawing the bill, which I'm also hearing that constitutionally that he is not in a position to actually withdraw the bill. I was listening to one of the lawyers that he is really not in. He has to really take it back to the parliament, and then they might shelve the bill, but he's not in a position really to withdraw it. Have you heard that comment, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, that's why we are saying, you see, Ruto is a master of lies and is a sweet-mouthed person who speaks sweet
Ah,
but is not honest. So he has provided for us a truthful lie because
ah,
the parliament was supposed to go for a recess. yesterday, from
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. And that was already planned based on the distractions that took place in the parliament.
Yeah.
So the parliament was to go for a recess for 2 weeks. Constitutionally, if a bill has been ascended by the parliament, because the parliament voted for the bill for the second
Mm-hmm.
time on that Tuesday, before they were bombarded, they had already voted for the amendments in the bill, which means they had voted for the bill. What was remaining was to take it to the president tomorrow, which is this Thursday, to actually assent to the bill.
Yes.
Now, constitutionally, it is that if the bill has been sent to the president can resend back the bill to the parliament, or if the president do not sign the bill and is
Mm-hmm.
not resent back to the parliament, after 21 days, that bill become automatically law. It says for, I don't know, 21 days, or is for 2 weeks. Probably by the time that the 21 days might be over, the parliament might have not been back for a full sitting to discuss or withdraw the bill. Because you see, the bill was introduced to the parliament by the leader of majority, not the president.
Okay.
And as per the law, it's only he who introduced the bill in parliament that can put a motion before the parliament for withdrawing the bill. It's not just a public pronouncement that I'm withdrawing.
Right.
So the
See,
bill must go back to a sitting for a withdrawal, and that withdrawal must be proposed by the same majority leader who proposed the
who
bill to the
proposed
parliament.
it? So all
So
of that, it's just he's just it's a pretense. You know, he comes out and he's, as you said, his mouth is sweet. Liana Bell is asking. We just have a couple more questions because I deliberately don't want to keep you. I'm hoping that you can be with us on at least on Monday, you know, or Friday. We need you on Friday to tell us what's going on. So I don't want to keep you too long. What is the next move if he resigns? Who or what system is there to replace him?
that has been the biggest question that even in my morning show on yesterday, I was tackling it. But now, based on these three layers interested in this protest, as I've shared in the beginning,
Yes.
the next move is very complicated. One, the ordinary Gen Zs who were in the streets might have not prepared enough to replace him. Now, if in case he goes out. Now, this middle class of group of activists or politicians or
Yeah.
just patriotic citizens who are in the middle level
Yes.
are can organize themselves to replace him. They are capable.
Oh, I see. So you have,
But
so this is the
the
second group, the second
yes,
grouping. Yes, I'm
yes,
following.
yes, the second grouping of civil societies, upcoming politicians, or the political class. But the group with the biggest opportunity to play a card here are the business class, the deep state, and the oligarchs, the upper
Uh-huh.
group.
Yes.
Because if the president goes today, if he resigns today, constitutionally, his deputy president takes over, or the Speaker of the National Assembly takes over until election is organized. Now, it means that it is still the same political class that will be there because the deputy president or the Speaker of the National Assembly is from the same system.
Uh-huh. You see.
Now, because the resignation of the president do not automatically mean the end of a government. There's a takeover by the deputy president or any other forces within the chain of command. So that particularly shows you that it might not still go back directly to the ordinary citizen, the Gen Zs.
Wow. Listen, you've got to come back on. You've got to come back on. I know it's a sacrifice, but this is important for us. We've told you, Pigeon, of the what we see as a strong relationship with the Prime Minister of Barbados and the President of Kenya. We see how they're treated by these international bodies. And they treat them very, very similarly because they're doing similar work for them. And so this what's happening to you there in Kenya. Yes, we know you now, and we are connected to it, which is good. But we're connected. We want to know the outcome. We want to understand your process as well, and we want to know that you're safe. You know, so we're going to ask you to come back on. And the last thing I want to ask, somebody said it here, and somebody somebody saying that you definitely have to come back, that this is very educational for us. We're not going to get this in the regular media, guys, you know, so this is so important. But what's the sentiment of Kenyans, knowing that at this moment you now have people in Haiti, right? I'm realizing that you have people in Haiti. You have police force, in military force, sorry, in Haiti, and us in the Caribbean. Haiti is right there close to us, and we're saying, wow, that's the kind of troops that they're sending to Haiti, that round up people in the middle of the night and just killing 200 persons, it's alleged, all at once. This is what is going to be happening in Haiti. What's the sentiment on the ground? Or you guys can't think about Haiti at the moment. What's happening?
President Ruto is the biggest trouble of a black nation today. He is the biggest problem the black nation is facing today, because he has been in bed with a system that has oppressed the black community all over the world. The Kenyans are equally asking. In fact, we learned about the deployment because I knew it when they were to leave. Some of the officers were even my good friends around, whom I even shaved before they left, and they told me they were leaving to Haiti.
Wow.
And I'm told the first trip that came were around 400 police officers. And as I've said, these are not police officers. These are elite groups within the police department. They are composed of RDU, SAB, and I think GSU, which is a Rapid Deployment Unit, General Service Unit, and Special Technical Team. There's a special squad within the police officers. So the question even the Kenyans ask today is that President Ruto will send police officers to the so-called gangs or alluded gangs in Haiti, while he can dare to send military to his ordinary armless citizens. That shows you the level of wickedness. It's a shared wickedness of the president. But beyond that, some information leaked somewhere. I think it was on a text message that leaked and circulated in a WhatsApp group, whereby one police officer actually texted his brother. Was it his brother or his uncle? I think a cousin. And he said that, please take care of my wife, take care of my family. This is the PIN number of my account. We are forced to go without our total wish. And in case I die there, please, this is my account in case, take the money and protect my family. There has also been people who wanted to go because they are saying there's money that they'll get out of it, the so-called deployment service fee.
Mm-hmm.
And it's appearing to be around 5 to 3 million Kenyan shillings. And some even either corrupted themselves, they corrupted their way in to be part of the team just to go get the money, which means to some level of consciousness, these officers are not going out to a higher degree of consciousness to help protect the fellow black brothers and sisters there. They're
Right.
either going through a forceful command or just after the money that might come out of it.
Ah.
In reality of the matter is that we are not certain from the Kenyans' majority perspective that they might survive and come back. And we are also concerned that the government might not also be public enough to show us the records of how many people have died, just like it leaked some 2 to 3 weeks ago that many people or soldiers in Kenya from Kenya who went to Congo are dying in Congo and are being thrown in the national parks to be eaten by animals. So this might be the same situation taking place in Haiti. I know the president had a Zoom meeting with the current Adonis is the president of the transitional authority leader of Haiti. They had a Zoom meeting before the deployment. And then look how funny this thing is. The president called for a group of religious leaders to pray for the officers to go to Haiti. You see, that is how very sarcastic it is. You go use the same neo-colonial tools of religion and Christianity to pray for our brothers to go to Haiti. So there is some level of lack of priority, and that's why it moves beyond. And I've said in my recent interviews that Ruto is a problem of a black nation, not a problem of Kenya alone, a problem of a black nation, and he is at a higher mission to advance the interests of the West. And that's why they were claiming somehow that even the protests here might have been inspired by the East, Russia getting involved in the protests in Kenya. But those are excuses. And this tells us maybe this is why US is trying to admit Kenya in the UN and NATO. It's called a NATO ally. Is it called a NATO, a NATO status? So that they can use Kenya as the only hand to clear everything up and down. This is not the best interest of the Kenyan population. It's not supported by the majority of Kenyan citizens. This is only to the best interest of one person, William Ruto, in regards to the profit he will get out of this. So he's trading the lives of our brothers and sisters.
Yes, yes. Oh boy. Let me just welcome Mr. Glenn Murray. And he is a former minister of government here in Barbados. And believe it or not, he's 80 years young. You see how young he is? And so it's an honor to have him here on the show tonight. Mr. Murray, good night. I think you have a comment or question for
thank you. Thank you, Marcy, and thank you, honored guest. I am not quite sure of the pronunciation of your name, so I think if you would kindly repeat it for me, I try to get it correct by next time I say
it. My name is Pigeon. Go ahead.
Pigeon.
Go ahead.
My name is Pigeon.
Pigeon. Okay. Fine. Good night. Good night, sir. This discussion on Kenya has taken me right back to the 1950s when I used to listen to the BBC between 1952 and 1960 when they had the Mau Rebellion. I'm not sure if Marcy's ever heard of the Mau Rebellion.
Yes, I have.
Right. It was the war between Britain and the colonies, with some fierce forces in Kenya as a colony against the British. You had the Kenyan Freedom Party on the Mau or the British ruling authorities. They were from various tribes, Kikuyu, the Kamba, and also Masai, among others. What I'm really trying to find out is whether, and the reason why Britain won the war over those 8 years is what history tells me that Britain deliberately played divide and rule between the various forces in Kenya, so they could not be one cohesive unit to defeat the British. What are the chances, and what I'm trying to find are the how powerful still is the force of tribe in Kenya? Are decisions at the highest level of what are made routinely on tribal matters, or have people since independence in 1963 been able to subsume the tribal distinctions and work together in one national identity, or is that still a powerful force? A long question, but I hope I was trying to give you some context.
So basically, if I go to you right, you are asking whether the current situation is still on the tribal lines. Okay, one is that the Mau rebellion that then entered the state of emergency between 1952, as you have indicated, to 1960s, was basically fought by one community, which is the Kikuyu community, predominantly the Kikuyu community. And this was because, of course, prior to the 1952, there were other communities that actually opposed the colonial or the British conquest in Kenya. And this started from their entry point in the coast of Kenya by a fierce woman called Mekatilili Wamenza, who led a community called the Giriyama community. She fearlessly fought the British. And in
Wow.
fact, they killed her and overpowered, but she fought a fierce battle. This then, that is when they were now getting into the country. So they started by the community at the coast. And they came in until they reached the Maasai land. And the Maasai had a two division. Of course, there were the Maasais who were collaborators and the Maasais who were actually the resistance. And over a period of the time, Maasais also fought fearlessly the battle. But because of the division, they were actually defeated. And this was on their way to get to Uganda. Because you see, Uganda is a landlocked country next to Kenya.
Yes.
So for you to get in, you had to pass through. And basically, we were refusing against the railway construction, which they brought the Indians to construct their railway to get us in to extract our resources for them. Now, the 1952 was marked by the land issues. That's why we call them Kenya land and freedom fighters. So they took over the land that was within the Nairobi city. And this land, which was black soil, they decided to convert it as white, and they call it White Highland, which was having nothing white apart from them, the whites who wanted to conquer the land. And this was a plan that was stipulated in order to take over Kenya to be a white colony so that they could declare independence over Kenya as whites here. That is the plan they had with South Africa, is the plan they had with Zimbabwe, and is the plan they had in Kenya. But South Africa, they succeeded. You remember in 1900, they declared their independence. In a black nation, they declared their independence, and they had their white president ruling over until Mandela came in. And this is the same thing they did to US and Canada, which were predominantly not white states or white countries. Now, that occupation of that area of land is what led now to the people agitating for land, the return of the land. And this happened by starting for negotiations on a diplomatic angle. Until all this failed, in 1951, the people decided to go to the forest so that they can fight the war. Now, I have been exposed to many of the elders in the Mau Mau Veteran War. I am in contact with some living Mau Mau Veteran War, and I have listened to the first-hand information. And the biggest thing we must learn that what inspired their war to be successful was their spirituality. They depended much on their spirituality, what is called our African spirituality, not even the religious aspect, because they had the prophetess, the diviners, and everything else. And one woman who is now almost 190 something years old narrated to me a situation whereby they stayed in the forest eating soil because there was no food, and they were hiding in holes that they dug in the forest for survival, and they were walking on foot from forest to forest. That aspect of commitment and conviction is what drives the success of the Mau Mau. And they went to the forest without an equivalent arm to fight the white men, because it was not about the mightiness of the arm, but the conviction and the commitment about the struggle and the fight for liberation. So yes, that took place from one single community, and it went on, even though within the same community, as my elder has expressed here, there was a division. So there were the collaborators, who are so-called the loyalists, and the true resistance. Now, the collaborators are the people who benefited once we got independent. The true resistance and the Mau Mau community that fought in the forest, up to date, there's a woman whose house was demolished in the slums. She was a fighter but never had a home. I went to visit one who was still living in a rental house, paying rent, and she was in the forest as a brigadier, a woman brigadier in the forest, do not even have a single land, while the families and the descendants of the collaborators are the people running the country up to date. So the true independence of Kenya and many African states were never given. There was no independence. In fact, to majority who believe much, we were only given a flag and an anthem out of a whole struggle we have. And this is true in so many black nations, whereby there is up to date no true independence that was gained in the struggles we had for so-called independence. And that's why we are still being controlled by the so-called colonial masters in the process of neocolonialism.
Wow.
Now, the protest today is not tribal. The protest today is taking a very dynamic twist. It is ageism. It's the fight between the ages, whereby the younger generation are not even fighting the older generation, but a group of younger generation, the so-called Gen Zs, are united irrespective of tribe, education status, and anything else to fight an oppressive regime. And it is very sudden that their mothers and fathers are ready to join them. And this now become a unified force against a system, not a tribal inclined forces. But it is possible that the state might make it tribal, because the incident that took place yesterday night in the location I've shared with you, my sister, where people were killed overnight, that location specifically belongs to Kikuyu community. And therefore, the deputy president is a Kikuyu. The president is a Kalenjin. And to put this into context, for the last 63 years of independence in Kenya, the Kenyans has only been controlled by two communities out of the 47 communities, the Kalenjin community and the Kikuyu community. And this president is a Kalenjin with a deputy a Kikuyu. The first president was a Kikuyu. The second president was a Kalenjin. The third president was a Kikuyu. The fourth president was a Kikuyu. The fifth president is a Kalenjin. And there is also a boiling issue here. The rest of the communities feel like they are not given free chance to rule themselves in this system. They had called for a secession sometimes back, and now there's a possibility of galvanizing to remove a system irrespective of the tribe that will get in.
Wow. Listen, this is so much history here. Thank you for that question, Mr. Murray.
Thank you very much for a very fascinating account, and lots of the details that you were recounting I also read, so you seem to be a very good authority on these matters. So thanks for the enlightenment. I really enjoyed it.
Yes, me too. Very good. Very good, Pigeon. Pigeon, I really want to release you because truthfully, we want you back on Friday. We've got to have you back on Friday. So I don't want you to stay long and then you get too tired and you can't. I know it's 2:00. It's about no, it's 3:00 now. It's 3:00 there, and we're going to be kind and say to you, Pigeon, stay safe.
Okay.
Stay safe. Yes.
Yes, I want to say that they do say that the commander do not die in the battlefield with the soldiers. To some of us who are not that we are coward, but some of us who are conscious enough to be the next alternative in the process of this leadership are on a high alert to ensure that our safety will be part of the success of the revolution. Because when it is at this stage, the counter-revolutionary measures of the system will look for the top leaders to topple them down so that the people do not have leadership. We are conscious and we are trying to take keen security in regards to how do we survive, because the greatest advantage of this revolution is our survival as the next alternative.
But let me stop you there, Pigeon. I don't want you to say too much of your strategy on here. Because trust me, we do, remember we told you about the relationship that we see in the media between our prime minister and your president, and we want to make sure that you're safe. And so we don't even want to say that you're any leader or anything. We don't want to for them to abduct you or anything like that, because they listen to the show, the government of Barbados, they listen. And the truth is we don't know who is who. So we don't even say too much about that. Right?
Okay. What I'll say that those who want to abduct us, let them come. We are not afraid of them and will not be afraid of them and will face them head on. But let's take care. I wish my fellow comrades the best, and we wish for the best for our country and the best for our Black nation. This is a struggle of us, the Black people. Thank you.
Yes, yes, and we pray for your safety. I know you say
Thank you.
prayers alone won't help, but you are doing the work, and we are doing the praying, and we're using our platform to work. And this is why I ask people to share, to like and share. All right, thank you, Pigeon.
Thank you.
Have a good night and stay safe. Wow, that was brilliant. That was really brilliant.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I remember it because in those days, in the same way that the Western media paint paint certain people as terrorists and outlaws,
Yes.
the BBC used to treat the same the way the BBC would relay the news and describe what went on. They were regarded as terrorists and hooligans and wild people, and we never got the impression from listening to the BBC broadcast that they were fighting for the independence of their country. So they say they the who he who wins the war controls the narrative of history, while the dominance of the BBC, obviously during the British Council and the British government foreign office were painted these then painted these as some of the most vicious people in the world you would think they were. But
Yes.
all they were doing is trying to get the liberation of the country. Remember, we used to listen to it very avidly on the BBC in those days.
Yes, you see, and now we have, this is one of the reasons why they want to ban the social media, because he was able to come on and we're seeing him. So it doesn't matter what they're telling us, we are seeing him before us. He's there and he's very balanced in what he's saying to us. And we can decide on what we want to believe, not them telling us what to believe. That's the
Right.
difference, Mr. Murray.
Thank you very much. I agree. Um, we are asking him questions. He's been very forthcoming in his answer. He has not been blending around, trying to find words. It has been flowing quite naturally. He's obviously well informed and speaking from a position of authority.
Yes, 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 definitely, and
Yeah.
that's why we have to. But you have
Oh,
some stuff you want to talk to us
yeah.
about.
Tonight, if you could push up the theme of my presentation for me, it's called "Fishermen Never Admit Their Fish Bad." Fishermen never admit they fish bad. Sort of that. That's an old Bajan saying that they'll do whatever they can to sell their fish. Never admit that it's smelly, it's rotten from the head down, nothing. My fish is
Okay,
always
so I
good
have
fish, they say.
is in there. I should take out the is. The fish bad. So which speaking is
Yeah, Bajan. Fishing never
I
say anything
got
bad.
it. I got it. So
I,
let me
right,
sort it out. Let me sort it out. All right, you go ahead. Go ahead.
right. Okay. So that Bajanism occurred to me when I heard the latest attempt by the Prime Minister to to try to justify the spending of the $50 million on the refurbishment of Kensington Oasis, etc. For World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now, let me take you back a bit. If you can remember, it was on April the 16th, 2024,
Mm-hmm.
that there was this big announcement of the signing of the agreement between the government of Barbados and the Afrem X Bank. Big fanfare, lots of publicity, right? And remember with this loan too, it's for $25 million loan. I remember this loan is guaranteed by government, so the taxpayers are in the hop for if it goes bad. We will have to pay for it one way or the other if it
Right.
goes bad, right? And I think the terms are 7 years at 7.5 interest rate, right? And nobody has told me. I should have gotten somebody who's going to decide to work out what would be the actual payment per year on that sum of money for 7.5% for 7 years. If anybody who's good in the chat with the figures, everything gives an approximation. What would the Barbados be actually paying every year to keep up with this debt?
Let's see. Let's tell them how much so that they can calculate it. So it's
It's,
7.5%
yes, for over 7 years.
over 7 years. And how much
Uh,
is
uh,
the loan again?
it's 25 million US or 50 million Barbados dollars because you're talking to each other.
Okay, 25,000, 25 million.
Million,
Yeah,
in Barbados dollars, it'd be 50 million Barbados dollars.
right. 50 million Barbados dollars. So
Right.
anybody out there, work that out. That's your homework. It's $50 million. Over 7 years, 7.5% interest, and put the answer in the chat.
Right.
All
So
right.
after this big launch on in early April, middle of April, April 16, 2 months and 2 days later,
As
here's the prime minister trying to convince the
government is
still trying to
groupings
still
for
trying to
the
convince still trying to convince the public that that everything is all right and that this loan was necessary for the good of Barbados and the whole country would benefit. And that is why I came up. I came up with this slogan. Um, because if people are, I don't think she's quite understanding that people are not convinced of the viability of this loan, and
Mm-hmm.
secondly also that we are getting true value for money either at Kensington Oval or or he says. Oh, by the way, or he said I was told that um, Mr. Farmer to jump the gun by talking about the Barbara Greening because apparently the money was spent and then because of his expose on sales and question the 5 million. They then had to go and find other means to spend the money. So they paved Granny's Car Park. Granny's Car Park is not a government property.
Mm.
And they put on the finest grade bar. It was not mill and pave, but it's fine first class, first grade uh, Barbara Green. And then they did the same thing in the Bear Gardens property in order to increase the volume of work to try to justify the $5 million. But I'm told if you'd wait a little bit more, you would have gotten even better. But the public knows about it, and therefore it did a very good thing. So so last Friday night, we would recall the Prime Minister line was at Kensington Oval for cricket, and then there's this headline in the paper in the Sunday Sun um, um, that says that in which the Prime Minister is making a statement uh, by trying to further justify, um, trying to turn. If you can go to if you can go to the second slide for me. No, the
Second,
first slide. No, the first slide. Sorry,
the first
first
one.
slide.
So the next one, Dave. The next one.
Right, and which it says this is the Sunday Sun. Prime Minister Mayor Morley believes the investment that government has put into the redevelopment of Kensington Oval for the International Cricket Council's Men's T20 World Cup is a reflection of the confidence, is a reflection of the confidence that it has in the people of this country.
Ah,
Is a and that struck me as strange.
Mr. Murray, can you pause there and let people just read that for a moment? You know, this is oh boy, this is part of the Kool-Aid stuff going on here. But just let us sink in that the investment is a reflection of the confidence it has
That
in
the
the people
government
of this country.
has in the people of Barbados.
Wow.
All my life, I thought you used to do this for the benefit of the country, for the benefit of the people, for the benefit of society. No, we're doing because you are demonstrating confidence in the people of Barbados. It used to be the other way around. It works the other way around as far as I know from political science, that authority comes from above. Confidence and authenticity and legitimacy come from below. So it's the country that traditionally in democratic societies are the ones that have and express confidence in the government, especially at election time. So it seems to me that this is a very weird way of. I've never heard that. I've never heard a leader or any minister in government expects talk that way on the project as regards how it relates to the people. It seems to me as though not having been able to convince us that this was a worthwhile investment, that it was needed, etc., and that the money well spent, and that we've heard the end of it, that as though we are supposed to be grateful now and
Yeah.
appreciative of the Prime Minister and the government for having confidence in us, turning, 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 turning thinking and philosophy and approach on its head, turn around. So we have to be grateful now for the confidence, and that's rather than they appreciate the public when they vote for and the confidence of the public puts in them. So I thought it was a very interesting. I thought it was a very interesting way of expression. I've never seen anything like that yet in my entire life. Um, so it seems as though then they're doing us a favor then by having confidence in us. So we should be grateful and thankful that they have confidence in the people in Barbados that they can invest this money in the World Cup. Kensington Oval and whatnot. But I think it's a very clumsy attempt to try to unravel, to try to get the public to change their mind. I know the Prime Minister is very fond of saying that politics is the art of repetition. Politics is the art of repetition. I've heard her say that several times. And that runs counter to another well established dictum that used to be that politics is the art of the possible. Politics is the art of the possible. In other words, you don't stand on ideology. If you want to do something for the people, you use the most practical. You compromise. You just because it's for the good of the people. So it's art. So you make it happen. You make it possible by doing these things. But when you talk about art of the repetition, to me, I know repetition is very effective in when you're trying to learn something to memory, when you're trying to educate, convince, learn, or when you're trying to brainwash somebody in particular by repeating it over and over again. And I'm also so therefore I was very careful. I noted that very carefully that the Prime Minister again is trying to make us believe that this World Cup, okay, is the best thing that ever happened. But in this particular one, she don't understand that people have good reason to to question and challenge, as though if they're doing us a favor, if they have confidence in us, therefore we should abandon all questions, all queries, all challenges, and just accept what is said is true. Um, and then after that, if you go to slide two, um, go to slide two. It says slide two. All of this is also to help. This is also from the Sunday Sun. All of this, meaning the investment in Kensington, is also to help expand the ecosystem of cricket and the people who can benefit from it. To expand the ecosystem. I said ecosystem of cricket. I said, oh, here the Prime Minister goes again, buzzwords,
Yes.
fancy words. So I suppose they're supposed to be. She's now talking rather thinking something substantial, rather than saying something that the public is concerned about. She gets into impressionability. Some people have heard it, but it's not a term that's normally associated with cricket. So the ecosystem of cricket. And I decided I would look up the term ecosystem. An ecosystem it has numerous meanings, several synonyms. It means environment, habitat, spaces, or systems. So she's talking about cricket and the cricket environment, the correct system, the correct sector. But to impress that something fantastic is happening, she's gonna this is gonna expand the cricket ecosystem to the benefit of all people. People and you know who the beneficiaries are supposed to be? Players, coaches, physiotherapists, trainers, umpires, um, information technologists, specialists, and journalists. All the people I think who already benefit. So I think then that this is a special move. Um, it really, really baffles me. I think they still try very hard um, to make sure that the public buys it and get the feed. And don't forget, before that, soon after in the middle out, there was some weeks ago, there was also an act at town hall at Kensington Oval where the country was invited to come and listen to the president by the prime minister expressing the virtues and the benefits and all that desirable and necessary and vital about this thing. So I wonder why do you have to why do you have to keep repeating these matters over and over again? Um, I inquire with the payment, but what do we know about what happens after World Cup? Comey, Comey for many years has been a versatile bankrupt government company. Comey is responsible for the Kensington Oval Management Inc., the management of Kensington Oval. while the BCA was responsible for the actual cricket. But Cormier was broke for many years, um, very badly managed, that probably needs an investigation too at some point. Um, and so they had owed the BCA several $1 million over one time. I think some of it might have been repaid, but that would have been an excellent time to bring the country there to where we are. What is this money going to clear Comey's back log of money to the BCA or whatever other debts it has? Where do we go from here? But again, there was no mention of that. Instead, you're talking about the ecosystem of cricket. It reminded me of when you heard about where at one time the Prime Minister was very keen on promoting islands offshore of Barbados. Barbados was supposed, I think it finally got one of the manifestos. I know Mr. Arthur was resisting it for a long time. I think he finally got one of the manifestos. Was that the Barbados would build islands offshore and then sell, and every Barbadian child reaching 18 would then own shares in the island. I don't think it was short of. I mean, the last island that was created there was an island offshore that was enveloped by the water harbor, but there was no viable reason given for the creation of the island. Just that, I think it was one of those ideas that came out of advisor for Swordhead. So I'm also very weary of these fancy titles. And also, I also have to, when I hear these grandiose schemes, I also have to remember EduTech, which we never got of EduTech was another fancy idea with scheme and $millions pumped into it. And we've never seen the true benefits of it. I also noticed that the chairman of COMI did all the talking along with the organizing committee and the Prime Minister about Kensington Oval development, etc. That's the chairman. But I knew there used to be a CEO. I'm not sure if the whole configuration has been changed. He's now an executive chairman or whatever. He was referred to in the press all the time as chairman. But whatever happened to the CEO who would have been responsible for the day-to-day management of Kensington Oval and Corby? Those are the kinds of questions that we need to ask. I know that cricket isn't there. Even the BCA itself was totally out of the picture in this way. So I'm not sure as to the I am not sure as the and the BCA has a legally mandated, I think it was settled in 1933, passed by law. So it's almost 91 years old. But all of a sudden that was totally out of the picture. I would just like to understand why it happened out there. And at the same time, now we're talking about cricket. Couple of weeks ago, the Prime Minister also, I think there was a conference, probably in the Bahamas or one of the other islands, when we were talking about cricket. It was some colloquium or convention or gathering on cricket, and where the Prime Minister called on in our usual stern, demanding style, but you can beg with the demanding tone, but you're still begging, demanding, insisting on the ICC, which is a private business, that they have to treat West Indian players better, right? And I found it troubling and offensive because we got our glory of the cricket, our success, by people from the very beginning, Larry Constantine, etc., working hard, building, using our talents, a game that we adopted and outplayed the masters of the game, the inventors of the game. We've never, McGarry Sobers, never had to put out a special plea to pay. They got their recognition for the quality of their consistent performance, their consistent excellence. And I think for professional persons, having somebody go to businessmen, not that business, not that I don't expect that to have much impact, if any, on the ICC, because they know that they go for the country, the biggest markets, and the players who are most saleable, who are most marketable with their talents and their performances. So I'm saying, rather than trying to approach the ICC as though you were speaking to the World Bank or the IMF and making this demand, not on the basis of merit. Frank World must return in his grave. Or the nationalists, the men who, Larry Constantine, who in the 50s and the 60s fighting or fought and brought greater credit to the anti-colonial spirit and brought racial pride to black players of cricket. So it's against that kind of it's against that kind of thinking that I found it was a little unworthy and unbecoming of cricketer of all past, present, and hopefully future cricketers that you will ask them a special consideration will be given because of where they're from, rather than you demand what is right and what they have earned at the table from the performance to what monies they bring in advertising and the gate sector. I think that's a more honorable. I think there's a more dignified and uplifting way of doing it. And another matter is that I noticed that everybody knows being called a legend. I see some names mentioned. I don't know. I see some names mentioned in cricket now. The legends were at one time World Weeks, Walker, Sobers, etc. Hall, Clifford, down the line. No, I see a lot of people who only qualify as ex players or ex West Indies players. They're now being called legends. It seems to me that whole letter was supposed to encapsulate the excellence, the personification, the apex of dominant cricket performance over time. Uh, Everybody's being called it just because you might have played moderately well or played well. But that doesn't make you a legend unless the current team of players are not performing well enough to be generating new legends and they think they have to water down and call everything. But if you water it down, it loses appeal. How do you the Prime Minister is talking about hotels, building a hotel over by the central person department, a legend's hotel, it's a legend. But what if you dilute the quality of the product, what will they come and see? The attraction, the pull factor of it would not be there. And I think therefore that these are things you have to be worried about, to be wary of, um, and let us get some more information. There's still a lot more information needs to come out of this loan and the terms and exactly how the money will be spent, how much more money will go to Comey or Kensington or whatever part, how it's going to be spelled. I think we need a proper breakdown. And I'm hoping that when the public account committee gets going effectively soon, I understand that will be that kind of vital information will be forthcoming.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Murray. We're here working out. I was here because someone put up the figure, but it's thank the person for working on it, but it's not quite correct.
Not correct.
Right. So it's really 76. It's really 76,250,000 that we would pay back the over the 7 years, 7.5%. If it's 50 million over 7.5% interest, the payback amount, the total would be 250,000. Yeah, 76 million. So, yeah.
Something that caught my eye also as I watch cricket, watch the matches in the various territories in the various locations. I have not heard anybody mention whether any big sums if the government either borrowed or begged or stole to refurbish, to revamp, to spend it, to go into a big refurbish for any of their state. They are in Sami, in St. Vincent, Grand Lara, in Guyana. I haven't heard any mention, I haven't seen anything that the government, the host government, that Barbados had to do and go and incur debt at the expense of the country to be able to create this standard. Not the standard there, but is it necessary? If it had not been so glorious, what more difference would it have made? I know they're talking about having other shows and all some of the biggest shows in the world there, but I think that there's much more to have to make Barbados, Kensington, such a desirable place that some of the biggest artists in the world will come there, not just because it's promoted as a land of the legends, or what we may call it. So I think I think we need a proper business plan where you can see where it would make sense to see what way they're doing, what they want to do, what they want to do, and how how the cost benefit, and how where the odds are going to come down in favor of profit or loss, or whether we be saddled with another bill to pay, and this will be just another an overblown exercise of political vanity.
Yeah, and just to say that you were talking about different Caribbean islands, whether they did this kind of refurbishing. I said earlier on another show that I saw a cricket stadium built from the ground up, like a new stadium in Nassau in the U.S., Nassau County, and that stadium was 30 million US dollars, and here we've spent 50 million dollars, 25 million US dollars refurbishing Kensington, but they spent 30 million to build a whole stadium from the ground up. Good night, Mr. Franklin. How are you?
Oh, good night. I'm very good, and I noticed some people in the chat say that my face looks nice, and
Yes.
things. So all that comes with a little water and soap. But it was not new. So but I'm better, a bit tired over the last couple of days, but that was because I was working too hard. But I'm good, and I want to just say a couple of things about what Glenn was saying. You know, Glenn. Fishermen never admit their fish bad. No, we say fishermen never admit it's just stink. That's the best time for you, you know. But you had this stern and as a diplomat, and you want to come and use nicer words. No, fishermen never admit the fish stink.
They might have had a different version in Rock Hall than it's going to sell.
No, you see, the thing is, when I kind of Rock Hall, we had to check good because we don't have to see.
Yeah.
You know the But let me just come here in defense of the Prime Minister. You know, I like to defend her. You know, like, for instance, sometimes people say if you don't have a word, you know, you make one. In this case, the Prime Minister didn't have a term, so she made a term, ecosystem of cricket. You know, I got to compliment her for coming up with that. You know, because I looked for ecosystem too when I saw it, like, you know, and I said, well, she really stretched the limited ecosystem, you know, as far as she could get it. And, you know, in this case, as far as it could stretch, but it broke. She stretched it too far. You know? Okay, now, her credentials. You must remember, the Prime Minister is an avid cricket fan from the time she was a little girl. Remember that Saturday when she went down in the basement at school and watched cricket? You know, you can't forget that. She even watched it on Saturday, you know, at school.
Watch it or listen to it on radio.
No, she watched it. She went to the basement and watched it, or what she did, but she went to the basement beside her when she was at school that Saturday. Probably the only school open on that Saturday was hers. You know, and rather than do her work, she went into the basement and took on the cricket. So you got to give her cricket credentials. Similarly, when she read Manley's book on cricket, even before he wrote it, you know what more can you say? What more commitment? Manley and put a pen to paper, yeah, and Molly read the book. So that is commitment, you know. Yeah, so you got to give her applause for that too, Glenn. You know.
She wants to be champion of cricket, champion of resilience, champion of climate change.
You know, and that's called ambition. You know, drive. she was a champion of COVID too. You know, come on, talking about things that she didn't understand. But then let me say you also mentioned that she watered down things like legend and that kind of stuff. She also watered down national hero. That's nothing new. You know, she watered down national hero too. And then she watered down the most honorable. Now, we say any, many, money, more you are a national hero. And she went on like that, you know. And also, it doesn't really mean anything because everybody got one thrown at them. You know, one time, you know, when we had some person you call him sir in those days. And You had to have done something for the country, something worthwhile, something better. Not because you were a friend. And then also, again, the justice of the peace. You remember she last time around nearly about 700 people became justice of the peace. Some of them who cannot read and write. What more commitment than have no people? A justice of the peace was a man who was a certified documents and things. But some of them can't write and want to make sure they were justices of the peace. What more you can ask, you know? You
But see,
got
all these things contribute to the decline of the governance on the governance on the standards of the institution and the quality of service that people get from the public gets from these institutions.
But
So it's not just end there. It has implications for the quality of persons recruited to these positions or any positions, and pass on the quality of work they do in those roles.
I'll tell you, see, when you talk about that, you put people in these posts, right? You put her people. And that is what has me afraid now, especially in light of what is happening in Kenya. Because I watched the show from before Marcia came on. I was there when it was upcoming. I was there holding on, waiting to make sure that I can see. I didn't want to miss anything this time. And because I was grieving for those people in Kenya, and I was saying to myself, these are the people that are going to send to kill people in Haiti, Again, and she wanted to send Barbadian soldiers down there to do that because she wants to get involved in everything. But look what is happening in Haiti. And you're sending crack troops, but they said call them police, to go to Haiti. You send police, but you're going to send the military on your own people. The military is not designed for security at home. That's the police role. That's even the police role here. That is why when people tell me nonsense about when they see police on Spring Garden and police walking on the march, soldiers walking on the march, I always oppose it. I said that is not the role of the police. The police, as far as I've been, the army, as far as I've been taught, is to come out in the aid of the civil power if it reaches the point where the police can handle the situation. And I've never seen a situation in Barbados where the police can handle it so far. But we have always had police down there, and people, without understanding what the role of the army is, out there saying their presence, because the people behave because they got the army. No. We still have police backup in case something came out. You don't want the army. I can tell you, when you see those policemen in the black clothes come down the road, and think fast behavior, the task force, you call them. So we didn't need them, but that was a move to desensitize the people into seeing troops on the streets. I hate it. I will always continue to hate it because that is not their role. But when you have the troops out there, soldiers designed to kill. That soldiers are taught how to kill. I was taught how to kill as a soldier. Because I tell people all the time, when if I have to shoot, I used to be a first class shot in my time. I never get to hit the target now. But we were taught to kill you. We aim at the biggest part. Soldiers don't aim at your foot. As a matter of fact, you don't you lift your foot at the same time. No, you aim at the chest. Soldiers are out there to kill. So when you put soldiers out there, soldiers' mind, you have to control yourself not to kill, because that is not what you were designed to do. You are designed to shoot the enemy. And you are putting them in Barbados. And look what is happening now. You're desensitized to having police on the street. So when we have a situation where like in Kenya, where people are protesting, you bring the soldiers out, they will kill you. Because that's what they're designed to do. That's what they were taught to do. That is why you have a whole useless army up there saying, don't do nothing but shining their boots and training how to kill people until such time as you need them. Always remembering that the chief of staff of the defense forces handpicked by the prime minister, a man who had passed retirement age, and what they did for him, they raised the retirement age to make sure he can come back. So I am seeing, hopefully not prophesying, but I'm seeing things that spell danger to the people of this country. Similarly with the police, the police who become the commissioner of police, he was one of the people who sued and lost twice before the High Court and the Court of Appeal. And then the government decided, we ain't bother resettling. You won twice and 2 courts. And they appealed to the Caribbean Court of Justice. And just before the case starts, they said, be done with that case, be and settle, and pay a bundle of money. And they have not told the country how much money they have paid out to those policemen to buy their loyalty. So I am worrying, let me go back to another thing about Motley and how she behaves. You remember the cybercrime bill. It was passed in the House. This procedure, I've spoken to several parliamentarians, former Prime Minister, and others who have said to me that the procedure that went down in the House is unknown to our practice in Barbados. I knew it. I said that, but I had to get it confirmed. You don't pass a bill, but she does what she likes, but she's in control of everything. You remember Ben the name in the Senate? She come and name who the president is. Even so, you might know how it's supposed to be. You give the Senate that dignity to come up and even pretend to nominate people to get their own. I usually pretend too much. To get their systems in place. You leave it to the Senate. She come and say, this boy's the Senate, this boy's the president, the speaker, and that kind of thing. So when you come out there's no intrigue, nothing. It's just Motley's dominating everything. She came up, then this show, and our march had about 1,000 people out there, and when these drones came over and photographed us, Motley declared, we're going to have a joint select committee. Pass her. Had no say in the matter. What she should have done is to ask the leader of the government business in the Senate to have a committee in the Senate to go over it. But she ignores all rules. But that's what we have. But I don't know if Glenn is finished, but I wanted to talk about Leslie Hall.
Yes, go right ahead. We had finished that segment. Thank you so much, Mr. Murray. I didn't get to tell him thank you. Thank you once again. Very thought-provoking. Thought-provoking is this one, causing us to think about what we read in the newspaper and to not drink the Kool-Aid. Thank you, sir.
But don't get into those ecosystems.
Yes.
I have to get that word into it, Yeah.
Yes.
I don't like this, but I'm going to do it. People in Barbados think teachers are there to be babysitters, regardless of what is happening. And I even saw some nonsense in the paper that they didn't tell the parents that they were going to sick out. When you call and it doesn't bother you sicking out, that is going to be a contradiction in terms. You can't say I'm going to be sick and then go there and do a sick out. But a sick out is a legitimate industrial relations tool. And they have every right to sick out, to strike, to do whatever they want to do. Simply because they were existing and working in conditions that were substandard, that I think I put snow in. And I happen to have a copy of a report by the Health and Safety Committee of that school. They wrote this report. And I'm going to just highlight a few issues to show you why these people should have stayed away from work, not just then, but ever since. Because we still have in Barbados a piece of legislation that says that you have the right to refuse to work in dangerous conditions. And that school is dangerous for your health and safety. But let me just go to a couple of issues because I'm not going to read the entire report because it will take a little while. They complain that they only got one security guard for the 2 schools on that compound.
Okay.
But the school and the guard cannot see what is going wrong on the compound. Worse yet, the school is not fenced around. So some people in the neighborhood, because it's in a community. So the people parents form part of the school curtilage. So when you have a gap in people's parents, you have a gap. People can come through.
Right.
And people do that. It has reached a stage where the school only has one entrance and one exit. And in a situation where you could not go through the exit for whatever reason, and I'm paraphrasing from the report, you had to go through people's yard. You had to use the people's yard to go through their yard to get out from the school because there was some situation out front that you couldn't. So you were bottling there, and the only thing saving you was somebody's backyard that was open. Right. But that means that people can use people's yard and come into the school compound during the day as somebody's parked their vehicle on the school compound will come into a yard. But those are the minor things, right? Those are the minor things. Let me go down further. And the thing is, they have recommended the teachers and the committee already made recommendations to the school and subsequently I expect to the ministry about remedying these situations. And nobody's doing anything about them because nobody really going to care until the people stand up. When the people stand up, then the teachers are hooligans and all kind of stuff. These teachers are heroes for standing up in these conditions. The school does not have a staff room. There are no rooms provided for non-class teachers to store their personal belongings, prepare lessons, correct tests and assignments, and carry out their other assigned duties while they conduct classes across the school. A staff room also provide an area for class teachers to relocate to when another teacher is teaching their class. Most non-class teachers sit at the back of the hall and keep their personal items in that location. Unfortunately, there are 2 classrooms in the hall, so this is not an ideal situation. It also does not provide any privacy or security for the personal belongings of these staff, the personal belongings of these staff members. Some non-class teachers sit in other classrooms so they can perform their duties and store their personal belongings. The addition of a prefab structure would aid in providing additional classroom necessary for a staff room to be created. There's no sick bay. It says if a child is feeling well, you gotta sit down outside there by the headmaster office and wait. You know, it's a little bit of section for you. The school has no sick bay for students or members of staff to rest when feeling ill. There's no place for them to recuperate when waiting to be collected, or if they have to leave the premises on their own. In case of illness, students sit on a bench outside the principal's office until someone comes to collect them. Members of staff remain in their classes, sit under the tree in the schoolyard, or sit in their cars. A room with a toilet and a sink for isolation of sick persons is crucial. Right? Now that is bad enough, but we go on. There's no room allocated to janitorial staff or the general worker. And as a result, the janitors operate in the corner at the bottom of the stairs in the class 2 block, while the general worker operates from under a tree in the schoolyard. These areas provide no privacy or security for their personal belongings. This meant This means that they have no sink or toilet facilities other than the ones shared with the teaching staff, which includes the bathroom shared with the infant school. Right? Maintenance and repair of facilities. The junior school is in dire need of maintenance and repair as a result of the age and lack of maintenance over the years. Floorboards in the halls and classrooms are loose and have fallen out under the weight of persons standing on them. The ceilings are damaged as a result of rain and termites. Cupboards, desks, chairs are worm-eaten or termite-eaten. There are teachers who have no teacher's desk or chair as a result. The doors throughout the schools are ancient and impossible to manage if the school should experience the need for an emergency shutdown. Staircases are unsafe and need to be used carefully. The upstairs flooring looks and feels unsafe when being walked on. There's mold in some parts of the school, which has resulted in the former canteen and the classroom in the Class 2 block being condemned and is no longer in use. However, these condemned rooms are adjacent to classrooms that are still being used and which are also showing signs of mold. If these rooms were made viable again, it would aid in providing some additional rooms that are desperately needed. Then they complain about rats. They said there are constant signs of rodents and pests in the school. Dead roaches are a common sight around the school. The presence of rats, mice, cats, and pigeons in the school rooms is a concern as well. Due to the lack of fencing the school, sheep and horses have on occasion been brought onto the school ground for grazing, leaving feces on the hard court and other parts of the school. Dogs, cats, pigeons, and monkeys have also become part of the pest issue, with feces of these various animals having to be removed from the schoolyard and classrooms on occasion. As a result of my sightings during the last week, I don't know the week of the report, the Ministry of Health Vector Unit was notified, blah, blah, blah. You see, it is not, it is as the Ministry of Education and the Chief Education Officer, I think, and the minister trying to give the impression that the union is bad. No, the union isn't bad. This union has shown so much restraint. It isn't funny. And I can tell you why they're showing restraint, because they have been showing restraint so much so that some of the teachers decided to come and join Unity. And that's a fact, because they were the teachers were saying they've been doing enough. All right? So don't let the minister come out there and paint the Barbados Union of Teachers and the teachers as uncaring. The uncaring people are the people who refuse to provide the facilities for learning, teaching and learning to take place in a comfortable and safe environment. All right, let's say section 9. The school has over 300 students, but has only one bathroom for the female students and one bathroom for the male students.
Wow.
This is the same for female teachers and male teachers, both having one bathroom each. The school shares a bathroom with the infant school. This bathroom is used by female and male students of both schools, as well as female and male teachers of both schools. Additionally, the same bathroom is used by parents and other adults who enter the school during the day and during the evening period. This is a major cause for concern. The bathroom facility, which was being constructed to remedy the situation, was started and never completed. So this undesirable situation persists.
But Mr. Franklin, that is right there. That is dealing with children and young people. You don't have little children, boys and girls using the same bathroom. That's a recipe for disaster. That you are setting up. That first, I mean, they just need to close that school down until they get those things fixed. They should be ashamed to come out and speak out against the the union. They should be apologizing. I just had to interject there, but
So,
go
but
ahead.
you're correct. You see, people view unions as bad, you know. But if the unions were not there, you can imagine the union is there now, and they are enduring this suffering. And we have a lot of people in the Barbados Union of Teachers who are gentlemen and ladies and try to be fair and decent, and they look out for the students more so in some cases than the parents. So when you try to give the impression that these teachers are bad, you know, it reeks of a kind of nastiness that these
But
people will do to justify not doing anything for the school. $50 million in Kensington, and just up the road from Kensington, you got a school that's falling apart. You know,
Kazan,
you
I'm
said,
glad I was going to make the same point because one of the big um, issues that were there with the upgrading of the bathroom at Kensington. How could you spend that kind of upgrade the bathroom? And there, a couple hundred yards away, a school which was at one time one of the most preeminent primary schools in Barbados did excellent work, produced excellent students. Now I wonder what their performance would be. Do they go to 11 plus there too?
that is
This
junior
would,
school. Would.
okay. How can they expect the class to perform well? But that's who in those unstable, disgusting conditions. You're talking about schools of excellence in junior college, and the basics, the foundation of your whole education is in such disarray, disrepute. They're disgraceful. They should be ashamed to come to the public and claim to be minister of that or PS of that. Don't they inspect? Don't they go around? Don't they see? What do they spend them? I'm totally confused. An area in which we had such renowned excellence for so long is in total, just like most parts of the government, is in total disarray.
Yeah.
But
Thank you,
you
It
Mr.
see,
really is a
Murray.
shame.
Mr. Franklin, we have another 6 minutes before Kima comes on, and then we're going to leave some time at the end so we can discuss some more topics, okay?
yeah, okay, but in 6 minutes, I'll finish in 6 minutes because I was
Yeah.
going to finish very quickly. You know, look, this school is in an area of the city where poor people attend. And these are the same poor people who you're seeing out there jumping up in t-shirts, red t-shirts, talking about how Mayor scared. I mean, cares. I keep saying scares because she scared the hell out of me. Um, and these are the people who you see jumping up for them, you know. But these people's children cannot get $100,000 spent on a school to fix it up, and you spending 50 million on a thing that will not be paid back because Kensington will not generate enough um entertainment, whatever they have there, cricket or whatever, the people that come to pay back that loan. That loan will be paid by government, period. Comey ain't got 2 25-cent pieces to rub together. They don't have any money. All the money from Comey will come from the government. And that is why I don't like these statutory boards, because government is able to hide the money in these statutory boards and don't let people see how it is being spent. Just like how they give money to the unions and they don't put it in the estimates. What they do, they put the money in the labor department and just call it grants. So the labor department can give out the grants. I don't know who to give it to. And we're talking about unions. I want to congratulate Tony Moore's daughter. I saw she's a top student of the common entrance exam. Good work, young lady. And I must. I see a few people try to be critical of it, and that's bad. That's wrong. You know, we should never treat these little children badly because who their parents are. If you don't like the parents, they're not their parents. And she's done wonderful work. She scored at the very top, and I think she should be celebrated. That said, I want to go on. This school used to produce top students, too, but you can't produce top students in this environment, and they're not caring about the people who make them, because the people who make we got more poor people in Barbados than people of affluence. And if all the people of affluence voted for Barbados, the party of poor people was a man, they wouldn't get a seat. The poor people, who put them in there. So, but government's job is to look out for the most vulnerable. I always say that. The people who are rich and think they can take care of themselves. So when you go and take away the things from the poor, like national insurance, you know they're cutting the pension shortly. When a guy who earns $20,000 a month, he don't need to go and apply for national insurance. But the guy who was earning $2,000 and the people who working in the gas stations and the security guards and stuff, they need national insurance. But the government is cutting that, as opposed to finding ways to get more money from the rich. So there's the poor people that they are mistreating, and even mistreating all the poor people's children, and then want to justify it, their nasty behavior, by saying that the teachers what? Teachers are human beings too. And finally, on this point of safety and health, I understand that they are taking off an asbestos roof at the port, and people are still working in there. Asbestos does not kill you tomorrow. It takes 20 years to give you a cancer. Or well, for the cancer to show and develop, and that you're dead in 20 years. But first 5 years, 5 months, 10 years, you know where there's nothing wrong with you. And those fine little fibers from broken asbestos is what kills. So I suspect what these people should do is to either close down the port when they're removing that asbestos roof. Let people be up there a couple of days for their cargo, because customs officers, port workers, and people doing business in the port, I hear they're closing off part of it for a little time and moving containers from some place, and you're not supposed to go through a gate. The asbestos fibers are so light that 100 yards you can still be getting again those, where you will still be getting those little fibers in your nose, and you don't need too many. You just need a little bit, and next thing you know, down the road, you got what they call asbestosis or whatever they call it, type of cancer. But what happens there? When you get sick from it, that's 20 years down the road, and the connection now, you can't go back to national insurance and say this is an injury at work, because national insurance won't hear you after 20 years. So you're out there now battling with a disease that is foreseeable. You can see it as going to happen. So what they should do is to take precautions and make sure, like, because I don't even know if they have the people equipped to take off those roofs, because everybody can strip an asbestos roof. They take specialists to take them off. Hope they got the specialists. I say no more. I'm only hoping that the customs officers worry about their health and left the place. But
yeah, keep going, Casual, because I'm still waiting for Kimar to join. I know he has a whole lot he want to share with us tonight.
If I might, if
real,
join here,
real quickly, Mr. Murray, because
yeah, but there used to be very clearly expressed and outlined the detailed protocol for the removal of asbestos, whether on roof or from the ground. This is probably the Ministry of Health. It used to be well known. Those are things you used to see on government information service, etc., reminding people. You don't see that anymore. So I'm shocked that we've gone so far back that we pretend these things no longer matter or exist, or it does not matter people's livelihoods anymore. It really is shocking.
I don't know what is happening. It was reported to me this morning, and people are expressing concern. But you know what has happened. People are afraid. It's telling me that you're afraid to live, because if you work in that conditions, it will kill you. And the death is not going to be laying down one morning and family get me say, Johnny, you get it. No, you're going to go through a lot of suffering with cancer. You ain't gonna waking up and say, you know, like just waking up, but not waking up one morning. You're gonna know you're going. It is going to be a long, painful death, but it is after a number of years while that little fiber in there is helping to develop your disease. I pray and I hope that the people who work in the harbor get like the Kenyans stand up for what they believe, you know.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks, Caswell. We're going to leave some time at the end to get back in there, you know, to discuss a couple more things that you might have there, Caswell. Let me just make a correction that I had put a calculation on the that was incorrect. Somebody's telling me they use a mortgage calculator. I had just done the 50 million over 7 years, 7.5% interest, but they use a mortgage calculator and it's totally different. So I just want to make sure I clear that up, and I'm going to put that figure up. Okay. So just let's clarify that. But this is so the 50 million over 7 years, 7.5% interest rate. All right, let's just go to Kimar. Good night, Kimar. How are you?
Hi, good night, Marcia. Good night, Caswell. Good night, Mr. Clay
Good
Murray.
night, good night, good night.
Good night. Good night to all of the members of the loyal opposition. Very happy to be here.
Yes. I know you're happy to be here and you're stressless. I hear you and Dave and some others planning this thing. This is these people, you know, Mr. Franklin. I tell them, listen, I am tired. I cannot be involved in planning one more thing, and so they've asked for this get together. So Dave and a couple of them and the others and Kimar, and I'm overhearing what is happening. So they're planning this picnic. So this is, you know, we're a movement of the people. This is the people's idea. At you guys wanted this at we were at where were we? Independence Square after the march, and they started to think of this and to put it together. And we just go. We're a movement of the people, and this is what it has produced. So Kimar, I guess they put it up there for you to say something of it before you start.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the introduction. I guess the title says it all. You know, stressless. Um, we all on the panel do quite a lot. You know, we make it on whenever we can make it on, and try to share whatever knowledge or whatever without compensation or without anything. So you know, we are human beings as well, and we have to de-stress. You know, there's so much going on in the country. Um, in general, people are just tensed and angry. You know, and so much violence and other stuff going on. So it's important that we take a day for rest, right? We are provided the Sabbath as a day of rest. Um, this is a Sunday, but the concept is the same, that we are going on a beautiful Sunday to Bath in St. John. We are having a minibus leaving Independence Square, Marcia, to take those who want to catch the minibus up to Bath Beach.
Okay.
Right, and yes.
Wow,
So we having a mini.
this is coming off. I listen. I'm just turning up at this picnic. This is the people planning this picnic. Go ahead.
Yes. So we'll be having a minibus. You know, we'll be having entertainment. We'll be having a nice time in nature. Enjoying the beach. I'm working on something else, but I'm not going to say that one as yet.
Oh Lord.
Yes. I'm sure many people will enjoy that particular aspect, but you know, just let me run it by the planning team, you know, and then we will announce as time pass. But Sunday, June the 7th, Bath Beach and St. John, just come out, just seek a day of relaxation, a day of peace, a day of camaraderie, you know. So besides the march, which is obviously something more serious, this is a time where we get to de-stress and sit and eat a beautiful Sunday lunch. And I'm sure Caswell will be up front with his big pirate dish, you know. And Caswell will come up with his pirate dish. You know, he could bring his wife. Mr. Murray could come out and pull a chair and sit and enjoy the cool breezes of St. John. You know. We'll be there on the 7th of July. So I want to see all of the persons on here. There's 1,000 of you. And when the show ends, it goes up to 5,000, 6,000. So I want to see each one of you and your families. You know, bring all the family. Come on down. And let us have a good time.
Yes.
Of relaxation.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, over to what you came to present tonight.
Yes. This is a very interesting one here. I was listening to Mrs. Murray earlier, and he was speaking again about Kensington Oval and the loan from the African Exim Bank, right? And more time I keep seeing this thing about the bank, and I keep hearing the conversation. But I keep reminding Barbadians that the Kensington Oval loan is but they're of a part of a plan, a much larger plan for that entire area. Right? So you remember the development plan that we put on the screen, Marcel, which spoke to Bridgetown, and it had Kensington Oval on it. Remember how many months ago that was? Right? And we said that there was no way possible.
Yes, I was saying, I was muted. I was saying that was way up and it had sounded so far-fetched. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? That it was no way possible that you could be asking persons to develop the corridors of Kensington for that level of money. And you know, it was strange and it all showed itself. But remember that the land right there opposite Kensington Oval, right? It's called Coburn or so I believe. And the opposite side, which is the part that houses the government central purchasing, right? The building that houses central purchasing, that property is intended to be sold for a hotel, right? And I announced that last time. So that property, along with Kensington Oval, and when you come further down now, Marcia, you get the flour mill, and then you get the cement plant, and then on the opposite side of the road, there's the beach, right? So then there's Mount Gay on right there, and that particular section along the Spring Garden Highway, or what they call the Mighty Grinder Highway now, they are saying that they are building a facility. This is right outside the Coast Guard, where the Coast Guard is. Right? So I don't know how many of you know where the Coast Guard is, right? But you can see clearly here that the Barbados Port Inc., which is the Bridgetown Port, is leading this venture. And I told you guys that the African Exim Bank has lined up $100 million loan to increase the facilities at the Bridgetown Port. And it was right there all along in an article, right? A news article, which spoke to this $100 million to build or to expand the port. So specifically, there's a sign up at the beach. I think that beach, you know, in there specific, right there by Spring Garden, where people usually stop off after crop over. Right there. Right. So many of you may know this beach.
Is that Brandon's or Brighton?
Brandon's.
Brandon's, right. Let me tell you a story about that when you finish. You go ahead.
Yeah, when he's finished, Mr. Murray, let him. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So this is Brandon's beach, and they are saying that they are going to put a car park and facilities to do export of grain, feeds, construction essentials and materials, some other stuff, right? And they are going to put a roundabout right here, and they're going to take up 95% of the first stages of the beach, right? I have to show you the sign that you can read it for yourselves. So if the tech guy would put up the sign, not with the billboard, right here. Pause right here. Right here, you can see the Coast Guard base, right on the left, and then right there you can see that open area right there by the beach. So they are proposing to build a facility to do import and export of goods and other materials that they list out, and we're going to read that list for you on the billboard. But I just wanted you to see exactly where they're proposing to put this stuff. So,
right. So you want the picture we had first? You want that one up now?
Right. So all of this area here, where sea bathers go, that will be taken up completely according to the proposed plan. What they're seeking to put here, right? And remember, the Coast Guard base is right there. So how is the Coast Guard base going to operate effectively if there's a big berthing facility here to do import and export from right off the sea, right?
Interesting.
And I was told that the Coast Guard base is intended to be moved to another location.
Right. Oh Lord. But wouldn't that be the Coast Guard was moved already, wasn't it?
Yes, and the government borrowed a significant loan. It was a massive loan that they borrowed, which they were cited by the Auditor General for it too, for moving the Coast Guard base, borrowed under the Barbados Labour Party, the previous one, not this one. Right. So the billboard now, and then you could pull up the billboard.
Not this one. You mean the billboard with all the very first one that we had up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. All right, we'll soon get that up.
Right.
Is it not this one? Right, this is it. Thank you.
No. Right. Let us zoom in on the wording. And the wording says that the facility will support the import and export and storage of bulk commodities, including but not limited to grain, feeds, oil, gases, lumber, steel, and construction aggregates through the port of Bridgetown. It is a crucial national priority as local sand quarries have reached their limits, and it is envisioned that the facility will comprise 600 meters of new deep water berth, protection of an inner harbor from large waves, especially from the north, creation of 4.5 hectares of new bulk storage, of a new bulk storage area to be subdivided to meet the needs of the tenants, and the creation of 2.9 hectares of parking with 280 cars and public lands inclusive of 1.8 hectares of enhanced beachfront, and mitigation of traffic congestion by a strategically placed roundabout and pedestrian overpass. And if you zoom out and you said this is by the Bridgetown Port Inc. So you see here town and country planning and in partnership with the Bridgetown Port. I remember it started by saying that the African Exim Bank. So if you come across on the map now, it will show you which is the actual drawing, right? You would see the little circle in here which shows you the roundabout.
Yeah.
If you can bring around the cursor to the roundabout, that is where they're going to put you right in the middle of the highway, by the way. Right? And the gray area there is where they're going to take up all of the beach, which is over here, right?
Oh.
So if you come up, you zoom come upward, that you can see, not back, but like come up, like come down, like yeah. So you see all of the gray area here. You can see the sandline and the shoreline. All of that gray area will be enhanced, they say, and that little thin stand is where they're going to leave back access. But the entire area is going to be blocked off because the gray area, for both gray areas, the lighter gray and the darker gray, are all where they're going to develop and take up for access into the facility. So if you come slightly to the left now, which would go carry back to the Coast Guard base, right? You will see the entire gray area straight downward to the Coast Guard base is where they intend to put these new uh facilities, they say, right? Now, there's an article that would show that the African Exim Bank is intended to bring this 100 million to the Bridgetown port. Right? It's 100 million, it's US $100 million from the African Exim Bank. That will show the intended investments.
Yeah.
Right? So you have the investment in Hayat, then you have the investments in the port, the Bridgetown port. And somebody made the point to me today that the African Exim Bank is not a governmental organization or multilateral organization, right? And you were discussing interest rates earlier, Marcia. So as a finance student, I feel absolutely compelled to say that when it comes to the interest rates on these type of loans, first you have to decipher on if they are simple interest loans or compound interest loans, right? And if the interest is calculated semi-annually, annually, whatever, to determine what will be the true accurate cost. And when you plug in these values, you have to determine which mode of operation you want. If you're working out the net present value of the project or the internal rate of return on the project.
Yes.
And when you put in the future value, you know what will be the future value of the loan in 5 years, then it will give you the accurate answer.
Yes, I have actually somebody in finance is working that out for me now because we were using simple interest and realizing that you can't do that. So someone is actually working out the actual figure for me now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So that's basically my contribution here, and asking to give us some more information, right? As far as we know, the Bridgetown port, it's still very much, the government still has some type of interest in it.
Right.
Right. And how come the government is intended to roll out a project this magnitude down through the Bridgetown port, $100 million investment from the African Exim Bank? I'm sure that on there they said that you're supposed to do a type of town hall or so, or the like, right? But how come you're taking up this thing, you're blocking off access to the beaches now again, right? Doing all types of bulk storage facilities, all types of facilities to import. As far as I know, the government no import or export none of those things, right? So basically, you're creating a space for the import and export of somebody's goods, right?
Right.
As far as we know, the flour mill is close by and hard rock cement is close by.
It's quite interesting. I know that Mr. Murray had a comment. I was asking him to wait, so let me just open his mic now. Go ahead, Mr. Murray.
Okay, muted. He's muted.
He closed it back. You have to unmute, Miss. I have unmuted you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Kmart had made reference to a document showing the proposed development plans for Bridgetown, etc. And that's a document that has been haunting the Parliament. Kmart, if you look at page 4 of that document, this is begin to explain a lot of what you were saying. It's almost ad hoc, routine, casual approach to development. Where you talk about where the Prime Minister talks about and welcoming investors talks about. This is one of my favorite. This is my mantra. It really haunts me in truth. He talks about they've the revised, amended the 54-year-old Town Council Plan and Development Act, right? It replaced it by a new Planning and Development Act, right? And it's where your applications are presumed in favor of development. Presumed in favor of development. That is why these things, because once you apply, you are bound to get through. Firstly, certain to get through. And if you apply and you get rejected, they will get past you quickly and pound the areas that you fell down in, and which you correct so you then get through. So it's all about development. And talking about development, that beach, where the mighty going on, sign is near what used to be the Wiser's restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little patch of wetlands there. You might barely see it now.
Yes.
All that is before the highway was there. Now it was a little spot of wetlands. I used to go come down from Spooners and go there, career fishing, catch thousands and that sort. All part of the Brandon's brightest thing. Well, there's a certain person. Well, there's another project going. As you come down here, turn left to go to the restaurant. There's certain 2 sets of products that have been bought by the same person, and they're building. These are good traditional Barbadian houses have been bought. Now they're going to be condominiums, 5-story condominiums or something like that. Now, part of the development had involved pumping seawater into the wetlands, and it was killing off the fish, the natural life. And that had to be corrected, and it only happened periodically. But that whole, I understand the plan is that all those traditional Barbadian houses, especially on the Brighton Beach side, are up for buying to rebuild into. So you'll have a whole range of condominiums of villas on that beach side that would totally change the nature of that neighborhood. So this is all part of that. Same man involved. Same, and I saw the first house that he bought, and then they bought a narrow nearby. I know he's building, like I said, condominiums there. So that whole area. I'm not surprised. Is obviously earmarked for liberal development.
Yeah. I believe Miss McLean was talking about that little wetlands, that wetlands area. There are lots of things that we've been saying on the show, especially when we just started out, and we're seeing a lot of those things, and they thought that we were talking madness. A lot of it is being manifested, right? Things that Kimara said, even Miss McLean, I remember her speaking about some of these things as well. Caswell, any comments here before we move on to anything else?
What they were going to do to this country, see, is to have it look like the course of the United States, where everything is built up. We can make Barbados a big slum eventually, And when you're approaching Barbados from sea, and I have, it's very beautiful. You really do not want to be seeing big condominiums taking advantage of this. The natural beauty of Barbados is what we are used to, what we want to keep. But these people have to find ways to satisfy their friends. So Barbados, I'm going to bet you that none of these things happening here on the coast are going to be done by Barbadians. Barbadians might provide the labor, and when the hotels are built, they might provide the people who they mistreat in the hotels. Because let me tell you something, bringing these hotels into Barbados and treating our workers this way is like slavery again. But the government doesn't look at that; they look at numbers. We don't want Barbados to be just like Manhattan or wherever else that you got there. We want our coast. We want to preserve our coast. We want to be able to go down there, and rather than I don't go in the sea myself. When I go to the beach, I go, and because you know me, I'm not a swimmer, and I try not to do things that I can't. But I still like to go down every so often and look for the beauty. But it's not going to be beautiful anymore. It might look beautiful to people who don't know what the natural beauty of Barbados was when these things go up. And it look beautiful to them. They don't care though. They want the money. We want them to preserve something Barbadian. But this government seems not to care about what is Barbadian. They just care about how much money they can get. And I'm not talking about meaning the country. I'm talking about them and their friends. They're not trying to talk about friends, family, and fornicators. But this is all about supplying them.
If I may just make a quick addition, just for the completeness of the history of the Coast Guard. Caswell, I don't remember. You remember the first site of the Coast Guard?
It is now called Miami Beach.
Right, near that. I remember.
That was formed. Miami Beach was formed because the Coast Guard station didn't do it properly, and they didn't, and the as a result, they changed the way the tides
right.
deposit a lot of sand there, and that sand became Miami Beach, and its Coast Guard station then got cut off from the sea because of all the sand that was coming up there. I remember that quite well.
As a matter of fact, they made a mistake because they refused to listen to local knowledge. People were telling them, don't build it there, the sea and the sand. They strike. What do you remember it for? That was in the 70s? Yes.
Yes.
There's a D9 tractor, which at that time probably cost about 30 or 40,000, which sank down. That sand was so deep. They lost a whole, a big D9 tractor sank into that area of the beach. And I remember also they used to take trucks and take sand from there and dump, you talk about carrying sand to the beach or carrying coals to Newcastle. But they used to take sand on a truck and dump it down Welch's to help form Welch's Beach. And so after that, it went to Fort Willoughby. Mm-hmm. And now this is the third location for it now. So it's already had 3 sites. Don't forget the government is supposed to turn the present Defense Force headquarters into a tourism site. Remember that?
Yes.
So all this is part of that whole thing. I do not know what will be left of Barbados. If you truly call Barbados, like you said, when it's all said and done. That's why you see presumption in favor of development.
Yeah.
Remember those words. Presumption, you can get it, you can get through. It's not a big thing. Just Barbados, bring it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Mr. Murray, I'm gonna repeat it because a lot of times, we do a lot of things on this show, Caswell and Kimar, and especially in the early stages, and people thought that they're just being conspiracy theories and all kinds of things. But look at this. Look at what is happening. I remember Miss McLean also on here talking to us about Brandon's Beach, where she goes and swims every day. And so on. And we have been saying this, and we've been saying it over and over. And here it is that it is happening. It's my thing, and it's always about how do we feel about our country, and is this the way that we want our country to go? Kimar has been singing this, Miss McLean, Caswell. I mean, it's been said on the show over and over. But is it that some people say, oh well, guys, one person said tonight, you guys, all you do is march and there's nothing is happening, because you might think nothing is happening, but the shows are here, we're getting educated. The thing is going to be is, what do you do? This is what I'm trying to get at with all of this information. It's being repeated, but what are we doing with the information that we have? We now know this is exactly what is happening. You can't say it's conspiracy, Kimar was saying, or Miss McLean, or whomever. It is what it is. This is what it is. What are we going to do with the information? I know that there were some issues, Mr. Franklin, that you didn't get to cover. And so this is the segment that we will just use this for anything else that we didn't get to cover. I have some announcements to make towards the end as well. So we'll just use the time wisely.
I wanted to deal with another issue about labor. I was saying the last time I'm going to stop talking about labor because nobody is actually doing anything about it. We have a minister who is asleep at the wheel. And when you go sleep at the wheel, what can happen? It's dangerous. Now, only then, since then I got an email from the Ministry of Labor asking me for information to deal with workers' issues. I'm not even going to respond to them. I'm going to respond to them on this show by saying that I will not participate in any activity as long to assist the Ministry of Labor while that gentleman is minister. He's a total nuisance. He does not have regard for anybody, like the old people just say. He doesn't have regard for God, man, or the devil. Well, or you can also put all the workers. But he is Minister of Labor. I don't know what they're planning to do and why. No, but I have no intention of joining because they want to find out from me what are the issues that affect workers so they can use it for training and that kind of nonsense. You made it tell me today, the 26th of June, 2024, the Ministry of Labor is now trying to find out what are the issues affecting labor. Let that sink in. Let me go over it again. The Ministry of Labor in Barbados is asking me to provide them with information about the things that are affecting workers in Barbados. What has the Ministry of Labor been doing since this government came into office? And why me? Honestly, I have to ask those questions because it reeks to me of somebody wanted to appear to be doing something because apparently they have been watching the Marshall Week show. Because we have been highlighting these areas and these issues for long enough. All they have to do to find out what is causing problems with labor is to go and replace the Marshall Week show at their leisure. If the Ministry of Labor wants me to work for them, I can get a contract, like the contracts that they're giving people. They don't want to pay me. They want me to do it for free. And again, I would be truly a contractor, not like the people they have in the registration department who are doing clerical work, not like the people that have and police and all these other government departments who are doing clerical work. We even have contract admin officers and that kind of nonsense going on. I have never seen such chaos and such dishonesty in my life. We have a situation where Barbados is not governed from Barbados. Let's understand that right now. Because no patriotic, depends on how you like to call that word, Barbadian would want to see Barbados coastline destroyed. They wouldn't want to see the workers treated in this way. But we want the people's money. We want the IMF's money. And the IMF is saying to you, you people are too affluent. The people that we get the money from to lend you are not as affluent as you. So we got to bring you down. We got to make you poor. Because that's basically what they're saying, you know. You have hospitals shouldn't be free. Education shouldn't be free. Bus fares should be much higher. Everything that the previous administrations did for the benefit of Barbados that were not negotiable by other prime ministers. Because I well remember instances where, from going back from Tom Allen's time, I remember that because I was working in the price control division at the time, and we had to compile figures to help with the IMF program. And when those figures came back, Tom put his foot down, and certain things you could not negotiate. Every prime minister of Barbados so far, but this one, resisted cutting pensions, cutting national insurance. And this one, every idea that somebody has outside that will hurt us, they have implemented. We cannot continue with this government. It is to our detriment. Nobody elects a government to mistreat you. Let me tell you something, see. Whenever there's a change in government, prior to this one, the government start out doing things, you know, making themselves look good. This administration, the Mayor administration, started bad. They have not done anything for the people of Barbados, but like I said, anything for. They have done a lot of things against, but nothing really for the people. I do not understand whose interest they're governing in, you know. I really do not understand it. It seems as though the Prime Minister has been sent from overseas by some Lord and Master to put us in our place, to make us poor, to make us mendicant, relying on handout from people. And mind you, that is the politics that she knows, you know. That is how her grandfather used to do it. Take the grant and aid money, keep most of it for himself, and then give people a little bit of food in the park, and everybody loved them for it. But mind you, he kept the most of it. Grant and aid money, the grant and aid money that the British government used to give to local government, and that didn't go out to do what it was supposed to do. It went to make Motley rich. Because remember, he was a deportee. You know, he was the original deportee from the United States. You know, but the first deportee that I ever knew about from the United States was him. Came back here and he got into politics. You can see how what we are dealing with. But let me tell you, if we do not stand up to this terror, as Tehran is saying, this pretender, if we do not stand, we will not recognize Barbados in the next 10 years. I'm not going on 20 or 9, so 10 years. And you're going to be and when you lose the things that we have now, then you're going to say, had I known? And you know, the people always say, had I known, it's always come too late. Open your eyes and see.
Yep.
That you are being disadvantaged. Open your eyes and see that this administration, I'm not a Dem. I've never been a Dem. I don't think I'm aspiring to be one. But the old people used to say, again, the old sayings, before none any. And this one is by, you gotta get somebody. Because these have shown not to be interested in the welfare of Barbadians. They are a government of reactors. When the things get too bad, they react. While on their mission, never forget that this administration started bad, started with disadvantaging the poor and making people rich. Don't ever forget, they brought 2 men from England, called them White Oaks, remember?
Yeah.
And paid them a lot of money. When I first heard about it, I was in the Senate, remember that. And I'd never heard of these White Oak people. So I went and I checked Company House. Company House is the equivalent of corporate affairs in Barbados. So those companies, British companies, have to make returns to Company House. And when I typed in White Oak, their information came up. White Oak, the 2 years prior to that successful company that was going to do our restructuring, the 2 years prior, their total income, get your prices right down. Their total income for both of those years, every year, was 0.00 pounds. So I don't know where those high flyers came from that didn't earn a shilling, didn't earn a pence. And we came here and said that all these were high flyers and they were involved in restructurings all around the world. That was a lie. They paid them $54 million to do what?
Yeah.
We have not probably been restructured yet. Barbados is still suffering, but those people are rich. And let me tell you something. If you take two paupers and pay them $50 million, I don't believe that those two paupers keep all.
Yeah.
I don't know who get it.
But
let me be very clear. I don't know who got it. Glenn, you know? I don't.
But you see, this is again another issue that we've been raising on the show. Kimar, let just go back to you, Kimar, and to ask. I mean, you're a young Barbadian, you know, and you are raising this kind of issue. You are pointing it out. What do you say to people your age group? That's you know, whether they're, I don't know if they watch the show. I don't know what's happening, because we can say all we can say on the show. You know, I mean, we love Barbados. Is it that the younger people don't love Barbados and they're not concerned about the coastline being taken over? Is it that they're concerned about their work? They can't be focused on that now. What do you say to people your age, not necessarily teenagers, but millennials? What do you say to them, Kimar, about what you're talking about, this hyper development?
Well, I guess there will be some generational divides on how we see development.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might say, well, if it brings investment to the country, if it brings jobs, no, let's do it. If it beautifies the place, let's do it. But when you take a back seat, when you look at it, you begin to see systematically that government has taken away everything you had, everything you enjoyed for free, and giving it over to somebody, and you can't even afford now to pay to use what you had for free. All right, and that's conditioning you early for when the more draconian IMF measures come down, when they tell you now that you gotta pay to go to school. Right? When they say to you now that you have to pay at the hospital, that when you go in the polyclinic, you have to pay now. Right? Bus fare is now $5 and $6 and $7 and $8 now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That right. So only when issues start to squeeze directly on the foot of people, is when they would think. But most of these issues don't impact them in the way that they would most mature people.
Yeah.
Only a few. If you explain it to them this way though, if you tell them that, well, you know that after you jump for crop over, you know that lovely beach that you usually come and take a dip in after you jump in your costume, well, the government is taking that away, so it will be no more beach for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the tourists and all others will have it bar off, and what they're doing to you now is conditioning it even further and changing the crop over route from Spring Garden and putting it up on the highway in Warrens and putting it also at places to avoid people frequenting the area and getting accustomed to it as a proper route, so that by the time they go in and do their developments, that they would have already moved majority of the population in terms of the crop over away from that area,
Mm.
right? And completely kill it off economically because all of the people who live on that area
Yeah.
survive from crop over, market, Bridgetown Market, and all of those things. And if you watch, they systematically decrease the amount of events, decrease the amount of everything
Yes. It's
that
true.
they held on Spring Garden Highway.
Yes. It is true. It is true. Because we
But you
do.
all,
Yeah.
you all don't realize what's happening. You know, they want to keep us pushed into the hinterland and leave the coastline for their foreign Arabs and white people
Yes.
to use. Remember when we were little, we were afraid to go into St. James, the little boys from St. Thomas, because they tell you when you go down there, they were going to do something to you, the white people, you know. But that is now becoming very popular, you know, where people, you know, because it was not a Belgian thing, you know, we just had one or two other only place and no problem. But now it's all over the place. They have
Yeah.
developed that, and so people say that if you go down to St. James, you know, be careful, they can do that to you. And a lot of people that want to go, they only have to go with numbers because you don't want to go down there and get damaged.
Yeah.
But so they're doing it again now, and they're pushing you in the hinterland. They're just take a big campground up one by Carmel and thing and call it a botanical garden and got people that are like idiots setting up on trees and having picnics. Not a drop of water from the sea. You can't go and walk through sand and nothing so. And people are enjoying it, you know why? Because it is a reprogramming. They want it from down there, so they provide something on the inside. Where you're
Inside.
gonna be the bother to the tourists, where you're gonna be the bother to the developers. We put you up there so in the big can wrong and Waterford, and then it's a kind of reprogramming that this government is doing. They want to desensitize and change our culture. You know, we had a culture of beach going. They want you from the beach, so now we will have a culture of botanical gardening now. You know, because that is what they were going to be.
But they want to change.
People think they're doing it for you. They're not doing it for you. They're doing it against you.
Yeah.
And people, I don't like to use the term Kool-Aid because the Kool-Aid was Jim Jones. So you best remember that. You know, my memory of mass Kool-Aid was Jim Jones, and they're giving you the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
So be careful. They
Yeah.
are not acting in your best interest. They have not done anything, but they're tricking you and they're coming up with it. Mind you, the ecosystem of this botanical gardens is going to replace the beach. I got to use that ecosystem too, you know, Marcel.
Mr. Murray, let me get Mr. Murray coming here on this here.
Yeah,
Mr. Murray, somebody sent me something. It says, I'll turn off your mic until I'm ready. It says, can you hear the deafening silence of the PM on these current issues? 18 gun deaths plus 5 new shooting injuries yesterday in the Pine. We have the Kenyan protests, house fires, report from Ian Gibbs on the unsafe and perilous structural safety situation at QE8. Somebody sent this to me, right? And they're saying that she's publishing condolences of death for Sam Wilkinson and Herbie Yearwood, which is good. And she's saying about the report on the new medical equipment from the QAH, report on vendor zones, and she's doing marketing videos of cricket and attend St. George speaks on Monday because these issues make her look good. The prior ones are negative, and it is clear. She says, as she said, another moderator on another program says that the PM does not want to be associated with anything negative or that will make her accountable. I read this comment and I thought this sounded so much like you, where she's making no comment on what is happening. Our young men are dying. They're, shooting up themselves and killing each other. And she is focused on what makes her, seemingly what makes her look good. Any thoughts on that, Mr. Murray? Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Well, you're perfectly right. Like I've been complaining about this for years now, since the government, 6 years almost. I must credit the one thing I remember and I respect Advisor Prasad for. He once told me on the air that they decide, because I asked him, we were talking about this. Remember, when they had the question of the two pensions came up, there's all a controversy, people get the pension taken away. I said, why do you allow these things to fester? They become controversial and make you lose standing in the public's eye. He said, well, we decide what we're going to answer, what we're not going to answer. We answer what we want to answer, forget about it. So that's what exactly what I said. The people have no respect for the public of Barbados. None whatsoever. Because if she had, she would take time to deal, not that monkey force that goes on as I speak. That is trivia. It's easy peasy. She has not had a press conference as such since the interview with David Ellis in July 2018. Three months after she got in, never sat down to an interview to be questioned, the challenge with all these issues. She's Minister of Planning and Development. Never sat down and tried to explain all these criticism, all these issues, what they mean, why her policy, why she's going this way, to justify at all. She just tough it out. But I also want to say, Council, I thank you. I also refer to the so-called alleged putative botanical garden at the baking ground, because I ran across it from Colorado. I also lived down the hill at Spruce, so we used to run back cane door, and there's nothing but a baking ground. You can't just go up there, put on two benches, put on three trees, called a botanical garden. I investigated and researched botanical gardens. And there's a disgrace, insult, just to make you, but circus and clowns, And the other thing, Council, I got a point on for history again. Barbados was never a granted aid colony, nor a ground colony. The money that used to be dispensed at the city council, as I know because it was a young reporter, used to come from the taxes of the vestry and the city council, and that was we never got a grant in aid from
No,
Britain. We got development funds to build certain projects, but the day-to-day administration, poor law, and one that came from the taxes within the various vestries across Barbados. We were never an aid colony nor a crown colony. Just that's for the record. I've read it from a number of different sources. Okay, not a big thing. That's a historical record.
We have a grant in aid. Churches it's still on the books 376. Right, we did have grant in aid. It wasn't extensive, and it went to like the vestries.
I will have it. Anyhow, not big thing. I would check it. I will have to look at it.
I have it here.
Okay, all right. And that's a government document, or that's something from the Anglican Church?
No, this is the government. This is the index for law about it.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. But I know we were never a grant and aid colony. I've said that. See that. Let's not spend too much time being flogging that kind of dead horse. All right.
Okay.
So we have an issue, and at some point the country is going to get up and say, enough, and account for your stewardship. You can't brush us or find time to talk about ecosystems and right, as well. You can't spend time and energy on your family, friends, and for the kids, and can't have time for us. Disgusting. And the casual, what we are seeing with the public service, all the institutions are being gutted. All the belly, the inside, all the entrails, is like taking a fish are being to satisfy the IMF. You have to cut your wage bill. However you do it, do it. So that's why you bring these contractors and consultants, because you're not to contribute anything to national insurance or whatever for these people. Impoverishing us for years. Like as I said, we avoided going in the hands of the IMF. They said even house rents were too low. And everybody said, no, we're not. This is how we do it. This is our way, democratic socialism. And you've got, you fell it. The prime minister, the government, they really put Barbados in the hands, in the bosom, in the guts of the IMF. And we are being impoverished step by step every day. And you call that haram.
Glenn, what I got to say to you though is this. This government plotted in opposition. And I ain't saying plan, I say plotted, because they were not the administration. They didn't have the figures,
Yes.
but they know within days of
Right.
forming the government what they were going to do. IMF was here, White Oak was here. These things were plotted by the international conspirators.
They admitted that that's more than a year to 2 years they were working on it. You're right.
But how can you be working on it without having the information?
But listen, you remember
Well,
my mantra. The
to be
prime
honest,
minister is not an economist.
right?
Yeah.
But to be
She's
honest,
not anything.
but remember,
Let me let Kimar come in here. We're gonna, cause I was just about to say cause in his book Kimar went through some of this. Go ahead, Kimar.
right? They admitted that at least 2 years out from the election that they were crafting this work plan, right?
Right.
A lot of this Barbados economic was adopted from the time of the Lord Stanley Ferdinand. A lot of this stuff isn't new. This isn't any innovative or anything. A lot of this was done during that 1990s period, right? Just different means and ways. But what happened was that when they were asked along the campaign if they were intended to go to the IMF, they said they didn't rule it out. The DLP were saying no, that they weren't going. They were making it clear. As well as right when it got in, they immediately went, right? But that is so because the, these institutions will usually have conversations with the prime minister and the opposition leader, both like how, when there's a lot of constitutional appointments and other guarantee rights, you know, they do have across the board discussions, central bank, the different heads, officials, people that could possibly be impacted by it, right?
Right.
However, though, it was said only by the Prime Minister that Kevin Greenwich
Right. That's right. That's right.
was working closely with the opposition leader to help craft this work plan, all during when the last government was in. That was said publicly. And he's now the governor of the central bank, leaving directly from the Prime Minister's office as a technical advisor, and he's now the head of the central bank. That I end there.
That is something else. We only have a minute to go, and you guys can read that in Kimar's book, Alternate Views. But we and I think today's Wednesday, actually. Alternate Views is tomorrow at 7 o'clock. But we only have a minute to go. Well, it's 10 o'clock, so we're going to close tonight. So we're getting ready to close, is what I'm saying. But I need to make some announcements, and it is very important that we do not have a march on Saturday. I got that just after 4 this evening. I was home and the police called me. They said that because of the finals, their resources, they do not have enough police to man our event. And I told them, well, we don't have that many people, but they said to us, that really they want to be able to do a good job for us, and they don't have enough people to man our event. So there is no march. We're going to do our best to keep pushing that out there. No march on a Saturday. So we're going to work and pray towards Sunday to make the Roadside Parliament really, really big. Okay. So we want to make the Roadside Parliament very, very big. No march. So it's only the Roadside Parliament. Only the Roadside Parliament that we're going to have on the Sunday. There's no march on Saturday. Everybody, can you help me to get the message out to everybody? Roadside Parliament. We have Roger Husbands, and he is from the Drug Education and Counseling Services. Been doing that for many, many years in Barbados, really many years. And there is Zico John, and he's an ex-gang leader. They're in Christchurch. We met him a couple years ago, and we've worked with him as well. you know, helping to come out of that lifestyle. We have author and Reverend Paul Leacock, who's going to deal with the family issues and so on that we have to work on. There's Senator Naked, David Naked, from Trinidad and Tobago. He's bought his ticket already. He sent me the details of everything, and he will be be traveling to come to us, and so we're going to be talking about gun violence at the Roadside Parliament, dealing with crime, all of that at Roadside Parliament. We ask you to bring the entire family out. Bring out the children, bring out your teenagers. You know, this is how Dave and I, we raise our children. We don't like issues like this. We keep them informed, keep them involved, you know, ask them questions, let them come out, bring the entire family. We're going to have a section there about remembrance. Okay, so it's going to be a time of remembrance where the 18 young men that have been slain, CG has been working on something special for them. Well, not for them, but for us to remember them, because we need to. So we're going to have a section in the program where we're going to remember these 18 young men, unless there's another one added. Hopefully not by that time. So we're going to have all their names, and really as a community, recognize that something has happened and the year has gone, and realize that these are all young black men that are there no more. Okay, so so it's important that we come out. We have some kid site is going to be there. We have Timon is going to do some poetry on this, and some other entertainment that we're working on. But it's going to be a full family. It's going to be full family affair, because this issue of gun violence, this issue of crime is a family affair. It is a community affair. You know, sometimes we want to think that it's only, you know, that, you know, it's only we focus on the government, but we have to look at our families. We have to look at the community. So my suggestion is to get the entire family at this event. Let us deal with it. Let's look at it. You know, we don't want in Barbados, we have to be calling a state of emergency in Barbados, right? We don't want that to happen, but that's where, to me, it seems that where we're heading. All right. So it's important that we all come out, bring the family, and let's make a big event of it. Don't watch the weather. Speak into the weather. Speak that we're going to have sunshine, right? Push that weather away, okay? And let's have a good time. Now, let me just go back to the panelists and then.
No, Marcy, before you thank us, we only have 330 likes so far tonight. I would like to see some more likes. You know, we want an equal system of likes here. You know, because right now, as you tell us, you know, the more likes we get, the more publicity this show gets. And when you go on internet right now, whenever I look at my iPad, the first thing that comes up is Marshall Week Show. That doesn't happen for everybody because I'm always on. So my computer gets to like zero in there first. So if you put enough likes, more and more people get to see, and it will be there coming up. Right now, for instance, I see come out things. Come out things is one of the things is I see in my iPad coming up, down the line there, it's coming up. You know, Winston is doing wonders over that, come out things, and the government is responding and working very hard to counter what Winston has been doing. You know, I don't know. He's a remarkable young man.
Yeah, so
give us a few more likes. 347 now, please.
Yes.
500 before the show is closed. I'll be happy.
Yes, guys. Please like, and so that people can you know, would be able to find us. Mr.
Tell CG, yes, she can use the room tomorrow.
Okay, all right, no problem. All right, Mr. Murray, can we take half a minute? Is there anything else that you want to say? If there's nothing else, then we're gone. That's okay. Kimar, is there anything else you want to say?
Well, before I go, I just remembered the property at Four Seasons, right? Um, the property next door that is being sold. So everything from Four Seasons coming down the beach straight down to the Bridgetown port is set to be developed, you know, according to how they proceed or whatever. So I guess that is an area that we have to pay some focus and attention on. And we can do that as well. But I just want to say good night to everybody. Wish you well, have a great night, and see you guys on Friday. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kimar. And I guess, Mr. Franklin, you said your piece already?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you all so very much. Thanks to Dave and everybody who helped to make this happen. Thanks to Pigeon, who was on earlier. And again, we continue to pray for his safety. And so we see you again on Friday. We're going to try to get Pigeon on. There is alternative views as usual on a Thursday. God bless you all, everybody, and enjoy. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Promise us a better tomorrow. Tell me that it's suffering done. Me attack the vote and let me down. Me attack the vote and let me down. She did only want little dealing, big contracts and not corruption. Me attack the vote and let me down. Me attack the vote and let me down. Barbados is too small for me. My pocket full now, you and job they promise me. And a girl like me want power and more money. You cry transparency, but that's a no for me. Promise us a better tomorrow. Tell me that it's suffering done. Me attack the vote and let me down. Me attack the vote and let me down. She did only want little dealing, big contracts and not corruption. Me attack the vote and let me down. Me attack the vote and let me down.
That maths nor English, 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 English. Pretending to be good, pretending to be good, just pretending to be good. Pretending to be good, I just pretending to care about people. 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 Pretending, and I'm pretending to be good at maths nor English. I just pretending to care about people. And I'm pretending to be good at maths nor English. I just pretending to care about people. I'm pretending to be good. And I'm pretending to be good at maths nor English. I just pretending to care about people. And I'm pretending to be good at maths nor English. I just pretending to care about people.
All right, folks, say good night. Good night. Good night. God